Customs officers are at war with smugglers in the ports, airports, and at sea. Coming up, officers receive a tip-off about cocaine smugglers in Bristol.
You pulled me in because of my appearance.
It had nothing to do with your appearance.
I'm afraid I think it was.
The rummage team get a shock under a truck in Dover.
Yes. And I could see a person's leg, a pair of jeans or something underneath the trailer. It's a bit shocking, really.
And officers board a vessel looking for cannabis in Cornwall.
It could be that there are firearms on board. Officers have met their death in doing this type of work before.
Customs officers aboard Searcher are patrolling the deserted waters of the Atlantic in winter. These customs ships are the front line against international drug smugglers.
Well, we're currently about 6.5 miles southwest of Lizard Point in Cornwall. Can you just slow down a tad, bring them back to about 4. And we've sighted a sloop sailing yacht, which is heading in an easterly direction. We're within territorial limits, so we're going to send our RIB boarding team over there to have a word with them and to see where they've come from.
In summer, the RIB team board dozens of yachts a day, hunting for smugglers hiding amongst the traffic. But winter also produces drug seizures from criminals on do-or-die missions across the Atlantic.
We haven't seen any other yachts recently, so it's always worth checking as to why he's out here and no one else is at the moment.
The only way to find out is to go on board. Protecting Britain's borders is a 24-hour-a-day job. And in the Dover freight lanes, officers have to make instant assessments about which trucks to stop and which to let go.
And the danger is, of course, you say, no, this one's free to go, but you're thinking last night or 2 shifts ago, you know, have I maybe let something through? It's a bit of a game, you know.
On his 12-hour night shift, Alex has stopped a truck carrying salad, which unusually doesn't have a date stamp. It's small mistakes like this which can catch out smugglers.
It's hard to see though from the paperwork, right? This paperwork is pretty duff here.
The state of the trailer makes Alex suspect it may have something to hide.
Yeah, okay.
It's to be a refurb. Well, not a very good one, but...
We'll go drill it.
Have a look in the base first.
Right. Okay, Chef, we go to Rampa? Rampa? Chef, you drive. No problem. No problem, Chef. We go to Rampa.
The driver's annoyed at being delayed, claiming the delay will ruin his perishable salad and he won't get paid.
Okay, Chef, we give you document.
But a trailer like this must be searched properly.
No problema. Stop pretend no problema. Okay, Chef, we're going to take a look, yeah? So go to Rampa. But in the driver's attitude as well, you know, when I tried to direct him to the base, he's trying to tell me he's got to be in Birmingham by 8 o'clock in the morning. We all know what the traffic's like.
Smugglers use any space they can to evade customs detection. Alex has seen plenty of dodgy vehicles and thinks this may be yet another.
Oh, there's screws missing. I mean, it'd be a pretty obvious one, but stranger things have happened.
As the excitement builds amongst the team, in the bay next door, another team have made a shocking find.
Yeah, is it possible to get immigration to the base, please? We've got one illegal at the moment.
This team have just found a clandestine concealed underneath the vehicle.
If you look from underneath the back of the lorry, you can just see a leg sticking out.
The shocked driver appears to know nothing about the illegal stowaway, who's still hiding under the truck.
Well, I was just checking the floor of the trailer from back, and I was just shining my torch along the underneath the trailer, and I could see a person's leg, a pair of jeans or something underneath the trailer. It's just someone sitting on top of the axles. It's a bit shocking, really.
Illegal immigrants risking their lives in this way is frighteningly common. Officers manage to gently persuade the stowaway out of his freezing hiding place.
That's it.
Yep.
Well, 4 pallet.
Right.
5 pallet.
Yes.
Scared and cold, the man is surrounded and detained. Next, officers make sure he isn't going to pose a threat to them or himself.
Have you got one? Have you got a knife?
You have no weapon, knife?
No pistol?
Okay.
No, okay. Right.
A detention notice will be issued by the immigration authorities, and then Group 4 will come detain the person until the immigration authorities actually can come and process him in the morning, which isn't too far away now.
It's a sombre end to a long night, especially for this man and the driver.
You know, just showing my torch and everyone just knows it's a clandestine, we know it's an immigrant. When I say I've seen quite a few, so the driver's more shocked than me. And when we showed him, you could see he was quite upset, really.
The driver's truck appeared to be the perfect cover for this illegal immigrant, but his long journey will end in a night behind bars. Meanwhile, the angry behaviour of the driver on the other rummage bay means his truck will be x-rayed. Ben's team are now hopeful they too will find something.
I think the guy's attitude as well is not putting us off.
Also on the hunt for drugs, the RIB team are now set to search the suspicious yacht. Customs officers have the power to board and search any vessel, but sometimes this invasion of privacy can cause tensions. The cutter monitors the situation on board, whilst doing background checks on the yacht and its crew.
Looks like a nice enough couple, don't they? They've got their life jackets on and life raft, dinghy. Usually people are quite helpful and friendly, and they're quite pleased to see us and chat to us. Hopefully.
The sailors may look happy enough, but on board they're venting their frustrations at being boarded.
This is the second time this has happened to us. Yes.
Is this recently, is it?
Well, no. Some years ago, but it's so intrusive. It took absolutely ages last time, and we had a stinking passage.
Right.
Arrived about 3 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
And some flipping customs boat with all else to do.
That's it. I couldn't believe it. At that time in the morning. Well, like I say, it should only take a couple of minutes.
The RIB team do their best to calm the sailors, while the cutter checks for previous offences.
Thank you.
We weren't too happy about us going aboard. They'd had a bad experience with customs before, and they were fine by the time we left. Obviously, you're boarding a yacht, and these people live on those yachts for days and days at a time, so they've got all their personal possessions and everything out there and below. You've got to be careful when you're going into somebody else's home like that. So they were happy enough when we left.
The search may have been an inconvenience, but officers must take action if they see something that fits the profile of a smuggler. But most customs work comes from intelligence leads. In Gatwick, the intelligence unit has identified 2 suspects returning from Trinidad, and the officers are waiting for them. The suspects have been ignoring each other for the whole flight.
He's looking around.
This is behaviour often associated with smugglers.
Just behind the barrier. The guy in khaki, he was looking around a hell of a lot when he came down here.
Yeah, he was.
Or when he's been down here. But they've disassociated all of their travel until now.
This is our 2 coming. Yeah, sir. Hi. Where are you from today?
Pardon?
You in from Barbados?
Port of Spain.
Port of Spain. Okay, can I have a quick word? Are you travelling with anybody at all?
Yes, I am.
Okay. You come on over for both.
Go on, let's just get it over and done with. Go on, strip the bags down.
Is this your luggage?
Go for it. Knock yourselves out.
Yeah. Is this your luggage?
Just knock yourself out. That's mine. Help yourself.
And that one's yours, is it?
Yep.
Okay. Did you pack all this luggage yourselves?
Yes, I did.
That's great. Has anybody given you anything to bring into the country?
No.
Okay, and you understand some things are not allowed here drugs-wise, of course.
Really?
Okay.
Like what?
All right,
Help me
that's
out.
great. Cannabis and all the rest
Seriously?
of it. Yeah.
Not allowed that here, no?
No, that's right. Okay, come on over.
The bag swab on the man in beige gives a hit for
Check if
cocaine.
there's any traces of a test for cocaine and heroin.
No, it's not worth it.
If that's
the
true,
go.
I'll I've got authority to rub him down.
The man in black also gives a high score for cocaine. It looks like the intelligence may prove correct.
No, there's one final thing that we'd like to do.
Which is?
search a person.
Sure ain't nothing, take my word for it, though.
Well, unfortunately, much as we might like to, we've got to be 100% certain.
In Dover, the salad truck with a suspicious floor is about to be X-rayed.
Yeah, we're just doing lots of scanning, so obviously a load like that we can't really get into without ruining it, really. Or certainly some anyway, so just get the scan and hopefully they'll clear it or not.
The delayed driver's behaviour is the other reason they decided to scan the lorry.
The driver's attitude isn't doing himself any favours at the moment still, so... And obviously, although we've done the outsides and looked at the structure of the vehicle, it's always handy to have a second opinion, which is what this kind of gives us.
The team were initially convinced this was going to be a job, but it's looking like the team who found the illegal immigrant have had all the excitement for tonight.
No, it's like watercress or something like that, so it's very light. What the rest of it is, I don't know.
The scan quickly shows that the floor is clean and the cargo of salad can be on its way.
If you're happy, mate.
Alex and Ben send the driver away reasonably happy, advising him to allow more time in future. The officers then go back out to stop their next customer. Drug smuggling through airports is big business for organised gangs. Today, Customs have a tip-off that passengers carrying cocaine will be arriving in Bristol from Amsterdam.
We've already had a word with immigration. Once they've been pointed out, we've got 2 officers that are ready to do the arrest.
With no idea what they look like, John's team are hoping to get a point out from immigration and will then stop and search the suspects.
30s. The lady has got an address in Holland and an address in the US, but we think they're both UK nationals. Basically, you can smuggle drugs in anything. We've had it in baby's milk powder, in tins of fruit, in tins of vegetables, meat even. They just adapt and improve their techniques, and we've got to make sure that we keep up with that and find it and keep it off the streets.
It turns out the female passenger is an American national, and the answers she gives to immigration's questions are already revealing lies.
The woman with the orange jacket on is sat down behind immigration, or in front of immigration. That's the woman.
She's staying with him at this address, travelling alone.
Super. I've got to go just in case he goes through. That's brilliant.
The passengers have split up, but an immigration officer at passport control identifies the suspect and gives John and Erica a discreet nod. The tip-off was that the passengers are bringing in cocaine. The lies at passport control are suspicious, but John needs to find the evidence or they'll be free to go.
Do you want me?
Hello, sir. Customs. You travelling on your own today? Who are you travelling with?
Well, my girlfriend, she's still the other side. She's an American citizen, so she's being held up there.
Oh, right, OK. And is this all your luggage?
That's hers, that's mine, and this is mine.
OK. So why have you picked your girlfriends up then?
Being polite.
Right, OK. You just want to come through with me then? And does she live with you full time, or is she just here on vacation?
Just here visiting.
OK. Have you got a ticket for your flight?
The man's admission that he's travelling with his girlfriend contradicts her story at immigration, and the route they've flown sounds like an attempt to avoid customs attention.
And you've come in from Amsterdam. Were you anywhere before Amsterdam?
Yep, Texas, Frankfurt, and Chicago.
So how long have you been out of the UK?
Since Thursday.
So, right. Are you married?
Yeah, I'm married.
All right, when did you get married?
Friday.
Oh. Do you ever use any drugs?
No.
No? What about your girlfriend?
No. I've done in the past, but I decided to get my act together.
Do you still smoke then, or not?
No, I'm football now.
Well, you're completely clean. You must have a vice.
The female passenger has been interviewed by immigration and can now be searched by customs.
Went from Dallas to Frankfurt, Germany.
Right.
And then Frankfurt, Germany to Amsterdam, and then Amsterdam to
here.
Bristol.
Right.
Their flight plans match up, but the woman is very nervous.
I really have to pee. Is there some point, does somebody want to go with me to the bathroom? I just gotta pee. If you're gonna watch me pee, I just gotta go.
Because the woman's possibly carrying drugs, Erica must accompany her to the toilet.
Okay.
But it turns out to be just nerves. And John's bag search has also turned up nothing.
It was looking really good because the woman at immigration said that she's on her own. He came down, started fiddling with his mobile to text her, picked up her bag and brought her bag through. was she was still at immigration. After, not obviously, he may not have known that she had said that she was on her own.
You finished the bags?
Yeah, I'll do some testing.
The last thing to do is swab the bags for drugs. If this comes up negative, John will be forced to let the suspects go. Back in Gatwick, the officers are body searching the two targets whose bags gave high readings for cocaine.
You just turn around, raise your arms out the side.
What did your friend do?
Is he okay? He seems a bit jumpy.
He's just hyperactive.
Is he? He's not hyperactive at the moment for a reason. He hasn't been using on the planes or something like that. If you want to wait here for your buddy, I should imagine he'll get searched as well soon. I understand his bag's given a reading for cocaine as well.
Told you before. Wait, no. That's why he found a trace. I told him, I said the reason he found a trace in the laptop is because I was sitting there, do a bit and play on my laptop.
What's he saying? He's been out for a holiday.
Been out there for a holiday. He's used coke and cannabis, which is why the high traces of coke on the laptop bag. And there you go. He's been well turned out whilst he was over there, and he knew that he was being stopped on the way back.
Do you fancy him for internal talk?
No, I don't think so.
No? Well, okay. Let's get him on the way.
Yeah.
Right.
The intelligence that they're involved with drugs was correct, but personal use abroad isn't a matter for UK customs, and the search for smugglers will have to continue.
There's a sense of anti-climax, because, I mean, you're looking for the gear and it's not there. But, you know, next time.
Successful drug seizures at sea are often triggered by foreign surveillance aircraft who alert British customs when a suspicious vessel is headed for UK waters.
In February 2000, we became alerted to suspicious activity by the French Customs Service, who had been patrolling the western fringes of the Bay of Biscay. They did some basic checks, as they do in all vessels, and found out that it had been registered from Panama. They also noticed that there was a number of items on board which appeared to be barrels, which they thought was a little bit unusual. They got in quite close to it, and I think as a result of that, the vessel turned off its GPS, which the French thought a little bit unusual. They were suspicious of that. The vessel was heading towards the UK mainland.
Immediately, the French alerted the British cutters.
We were very fortunate in that we had quite a number of cutters who were actually in South Coast ports at the time, and therefore they were immediately deployed to the coordinates that the French were constantly giving for the vessel.
With no GPS, the aircraft needed to maintain constant visual contact with the vessel named the Deep Diver.
It was very important to continue to track the vessel, and round the clock, this was during the day and at night, they sent up light aircraft to continue that monitoring.
As the Deep Diver entered British waters, the suspects on board knew they were being watched from all sides.
The cutters who were surveilling the Deep Diver were able to observe the barrels being jettisoned by someone on that particular vessel into the English Channel.
The cutter crew decided to strike.
They don't know what they're going to find. It could be that there are firearms on board, and officers have met their death in doing this type of work before.
Once on board, the crew were arrested immediately. Meanwhile, the RIB team searched for the evidence. Their swift action recovered all the barrels containing one of the biggest hauls of cannabis for years.
And when all the barrels were recovered, it totaled 680 kilos of cannabis, which then had a street value in the region of about 3.5 to 4 million pounds. So it was a very significant seizure of cannabis. They were all eventually found guilty by jury trial, and they were sentenced to 9, 7 and 5 years.
Thanks to the cutters, 3 more drug smugglers were safely behind bars. Back in Bristol, John's waiting for the result of the last drug swab on the passengers from Amsterdam. The test result proves that the anonymous tip-off claiming they were carrying drugs was false.
Okay, what we'll do, we'll pack you back up. Yep. Quite happy, really. Yeah. He's very calm. I just don't understand why she would have told the immigration officer she's travelling on her own.
Have they got one?
Have they?
She's been for a long time. She's in business now.
Ah, right,
So she said, which would justify why they split.
But he's completely clean. Shoes, bag, passport.
But what began as a customs search has identified an immigration problem, and their contradictory accounts will help immigration with their inquiries.
But she said she was travelling on her own at the interception point.
That absolutely up nicely for us if you don't want. She's not disclosed that.
Oh, right, okay. I've just been to speak to immigration, and there's a problem with her passport in that it looks like she's doing lots of trips in and around Europe, possibly to disguise the fact that she's been staying in the UK for longer than she perhaps should be. And because she's made untruthful statements to immigration, it looks highly likely that they're going to be sending her back to the United States.
The couple are given the all clear by customs, but the female passenger will be detained, which won't please her new husband.
Immigration are keeping her there for the time being. They want to have a chat with her. Unfortunately, there's nothing I can do to help you with that. I mean,
the thing is,
I'm not.
Just because of my appearance.
No, it wasn't that.
No.
No, I can assure you, it wasn't anything to do with your appearance.
Okay.
All right.
You can deny
I
that.
mean, there are. Your wife has said things which are concerning immigration at the moment, and that's why they want to talk to her about it.
That wasn't why you pulled us in there, was it?
I pulled you in separate to your wife.
You pulled me in because of my appearance.
It had nothing to do with your appearance.
I'm afraid I think it was.
All right, but
I think you're being prejudiced.
Okay.
I think it sucks.
The man's anger gets him nowhere, and he storms off alone. She wasn't a smuggler, but the man's wife failed to convince immigration that she was a genuine tourist and was sent back to America. Coming up, in Bristol, Polish cigarette smugglers caught being careless end up carless.
also seized.
I need my car.
In Birmingham, a Chinese man carrying £3,000 seems to be lying about his wages.
Every week you get 200. 200. Right, that's only 800 a month.
And in Gatwick, one couple's Jamaican holiday ends on a high.
It's very, very high. We need to look at this a bit more, I think.
At Bristol Airport, holidaymakers have just returned home from Arrecife in Lanzarote. The Canary Islands are outside of the EU for tax purposes, and there are tight restrictions on duty-free goods coming into the country. Officers are using X-ray machines to find any bags that have exceeded these limits. 3 suitcases appear to be full of cigarettes, so officers wait in the baggage hall to see if the owners will declare the goods.
Looking at the Arrecife flight, which is non-EU, so there is an allowance, 200 cigarettes, 250 grams of tobacco per adult, and we'll see if anything transpires.
Officers believe that the cigarettes they found are likely to be sold illegally. They suspect the people carrying them may not be the only ones involved.
Oh, you take them, eh?
So instead of pulling them over, they'll be followed. 2 women appear with the suspect cases, and, as anticipated, they walk straight through the nothing to declare channel. Officers follow close behind, and once outside, the women are joined by a male accomplice. As the passengers load their bags into a waiting car, officers run to intercept them. A quick look in the first case shows it's full of cigarettes.
Okay, car keys?
Sorry?
Keys?
Yeah.
Thank you.
And as the other 2 cases are opened, they too are stuffed to the brim with cigarettes.
At the moment, these cigarettes are all seized, all right? You understand that? Confiscated? Okay. At the moment, this vehicle is also seized. We keep the vehicle. Do you understand that?
Why?
Because the cigarettes were in the vehicle.
I need my car.
Okay, well, you have to sort that out later, but at the moment it's seized, right?
I'm only driver. These people rental me. I need my car. What we're saying is you've used this vehicle to transport the goods. We saw them in the vehicle, and that's why it's seized. What's inside the bag? Yeah.
Okay.
Do you have cigarettes in your
All
bag?
out inside.
Yeah.
They all go inside, okay?
It may sound harsh, but the car will remain seized until they've got to the bottom of the suspected smuggling ring. At Gatwick Airport, flights arrive on a daily basis from the Caribbean. Officers use sniffer dogs to find traces of drugs being imported illegally from countries with strong links to the drugs trade. If the dog makes a positive indication, passengers are pulled aside in the customs channels so they can be searched further. One such passenger is a young male who's returning from a holiday with his girlfriend.
You packed everything yourself, yeah? Does anybody ask you to carry any goods through?
That's it.
Okay. You have food in your bag?
No, I had this in my bag.
Sorry?
I had this in my bag, yeah. There's nothing in it, though. Just that price.
The man produces a small cannabis pipe, and officers suspect he's a drug user.
In Montego.
The passengers open up about the drugs they've encountered as their suitcase is swabbed for any traces. Despite proclaiming their innocence, the results from the drug swab test are alarmingly high.
It's very, very high. We need to look at this a bit more, I think.
It's starting to get a little...
That's the one that the dog showed interest in as well.
He's starting to get a little angsty about it.
Keep this.
Ask him if he's been using anything out there.
Yeah.
Just do another one in the in another area in the same sort of bag.
In the same bag?
Yeah.
So just they're showing a very high reading for drugs at the moment. Have you? No. Okay. I'm not saying you have. Okay, but have you been smoking anything, or?
Well,
it's probably best to declare at this moment.
My mates do when I'm back at home, but I don't.
Yeah, you don't personally.
No, I
use it?
don't. No.
Okay.
So did you try anything while you're out there?
No, I'm telling you, Lord.
The bag is swabbed again in a different place to see if the readings are consistently high. This time, there's a small trace reading for cocaine and heroin.
Have you been through the bag at all?
Basic, so I haven't gone through every single item, as in really scrutinised it.
Yeah, I'll take him in for a rub down, see how you go.
Officers decide to take their search to the next level to see if he's got any drugs on his body. Back at Bristol, officers are busy emptying 3 suitcases filled entirely with cigarettes smuggled into the UK from Lanzarote. The passengers have been informed that the cigarettes and the vehicle being used to carry the cigarettes are being seized. The driver, who claims he's just collecting his friends and knows nothing of the suspected cigarette smuggling ring, is taken into a private room for questioning.
So who are these for?
This is mine.
For you? You smoke all of it?
Yes, I smoke.
Your friends smoke?
Yes.
Yeah?
But officers don't believe that this many cigarettes are for personal consumption only.
How many do you reckon we've got altogether, roughly? Please.
We've got to be talking 30, 40,000.
The passengers are questioned separately to try and establish more information about the suspected smuggling ring.
Did you buy it? You bought it? Okay, did you go just to buy cigarettes?
No.
No?
Holidays.
For 1 day?
2 days.
2 days. One night, yeah?
The one gentleman with the red jacket, he seems to be the money man in this organisation.
So you just carry the cigarettes through beforehand?
Okay.
That's fine. Alright, and you needed the money, so you did it for the money. Okay, it's alright.
I don't know where she buying, when.
You don't know who she's buying them for? No?
All of the passengers' stories seem to contradict each other.
He knew there was fags in those cases because when we went out and he caught sight to us following him, he separated as if to say, whoa, nothing to do with me.
Outside of the European Union, passengers are allowed to bring back a strict allowance of just 200 cigarettes.
Cigarettes are gone, okay? Seized.
You take it.
Yeah, you are over your allowance, you're not allowed any of them. No. This tells you how you can appeal, but it's up to you whether you...
I'm not reading it.
You're not reading it? No? Well, that's up to you.
The man's reluctance to read the appeal procedure reinforces officers' suspicions that the cigarettes were intended to be sold. Both men leave their supposed friends behind. They'll have to find an alternative way home, since their car remains seized.
From this particular time, the action is just limited to seizure, but if they're caught repeatedly, it might be a bit more serious next time.
The female passengers also leave the airport empty-handed, and the massive haul of 37,000 cigarettes will be sent for incineration. Back at Gatwick, officers investigating a male passenger whose suitcase has given a high reading for cocaine are about to take him for a rub-down search.
Okay, basically, as you can see,
I
just want to explain you, so you can see everything's being done above board. Basically, like I said, he's showing signs of drugs, but that doesn't mean to say you've got it. It's a very, very sensitive swab. Okay. The dog has also shown an indication in you.
Right.
Okay. So what we want to do now is to bring you in for a search. Okay. Which we have to carry on. Yeah. Okay.
The man is led to a private room where he admits he's been stopped before.
I got stopped on the way out as well. He stopped me for 10 minutes. Spoke to me, that was it.
Despite a thorough search, he's not found to be carrying any drugs. So officers try another check on his shoes. Meanwhile, the man's partner continues talking to officers and confesses that her boyfriend has been known to use drugs in the past. But no further traces of drugs are found from the shoes, and officers are happy he's not a smuggler.
Right, that's okay, yeah. Okay. Okay, do you like to say it's all done like that?
No, I ain't bothered.
Have you, just for my benefit, what you do is entirely up to you, but have you done a bit of gear, a bit of Charlie, or anything like that?
No, I can't. No, I just had a medical about 3 months ago.
Right.
Back, so I can't.
Right, okay. He was rubbed down and searched. There was nothing on him of customs interest, nothing that would indicate any further drugs on his body or anything like that. He said he recently had a medical, which he said he doesn't use drugs at all. So from our point of view, we're quite happy for him to proceed.
The traces in the man's bag are put down to contamination, and the couple are free to leave. Coming up, one couple's behaviour leaves unanswered questions.
They're actually very, very nervous. There was a change in the booking of the tickets. He was unemployed, and how did he afford a holiday like that?
At Gatwick Airport, UK border agency officers are observing passengers who've just arrived from Kingston in Jamaica.
Just nice and slowly past the dog, please. Backs down off the shoulders.
As drug detection dogs assess the travellers, officers have been drawn to a couple who've been behaving suspiciously.
Thank you.
At the immigration desk, the woman in white is asked to remove her sunglasses for passport verification. Her partner in the red shirt at the desk next to her is allowed to proceed. Eventually, she too is allowed through. But Officer Chris has reasons to doubt they're legitimate travellers.
The fact they changed their date of return to come back by a week, to us, they look quite nervous. Down at immigration, they acted very sort of strange, they sort of try going the wrong exit.
The couple separate as they exit the baggage reclaim area. Typical behaviour of passengers with something to hide.
Two of you together? Have you got your passports and tickets? How long have you been out there for?
Oh, 17, 18 days.
Holiday? Well, back to work tomorrow now, is it, or what?
I wish. No, got made redundant last year. So.
Okay. What was you doing?
Building supplies.
Okay, and how about you?
I'm just stay-at-home mum.
A holiday in the Caribbean is an expensive outlay for a couple who aren't working. Suspicion grows that they could be hiding the real reason for their trip.
All right, you pack your own bags?
Yeah.
Okay. Nobody's given you anything to bring back at all, have they? Okay, let's have a quick look at your bags anyway.
But it seems the man doesn't want his case to be searched.
I don't think I've got the key in that one for us.
Oh, right, how come you've got the key?
Yeah.
If the keys aren't found by the time the other suitcase has been searched, the padlock will be forcibly removed.
Not that good.
A small trace of cocaine is detected from the first suitcase. So Officer Pete decides to remove the padlock from the other one. Surprisingly, it's almost empty.
I'm just going to x-ray this bag, okay?
He just looks nervous.
This is so light. They're acting so nervous.
The bag is checked for any hidden concealments.
Doesn't look that promising either, does it?
There's nothing in the bag that we can find, but the things like they didn't have the lock for their padlock was a bit unusual. The fact where they've come from as well just gives us grounds to go to the next sort of level of the search.
With no concrete evidence found on the couple so far, for now, their story remains a mystery. At Birmingham Airport, a number of flights are about to depart for destinations around the world. Officers are monitoring passengers in departure lounges and checking for large quantities of cash. Passengers leaving the country must declare any quantity of cash over 10,000 euros, and officers are interested in questioning passengers carrying anything over 1,000 euros. Large quantities of cash leaving the country is often linked to organised crime, so sniffer dogs are deployed to make initial detections on passengers.
How long are you going to China for?
About a week.
About a week.
See my granddad.
Right.
One passenger travelling to China has been pulled over for questioning after confessing to carrying a few £1,000s.
So it's just a pleasure trip, it's not a business trip?
Sorry?
It's not a business trip, it's just pleasure?
No.
Yeah. Why are you taking £3,000 for a week?
You know, my granddad's ill and I need to die.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Right, okay. How much money have you put in the suitcases on the aeroplane?
I think it's a few hundred.
A few hundred, okay.
With more cash in his checked-in suitcase, the officer asks to have this removed from the flight so it can also be checked.
I need the bags off for this guy. So, how much do you earn a month?
How much a month?
Yeah.
Let me check it out.
You must know.
2,000 exactly, I think it's
2,000 exactly.
About 2,500. Also, I ran the business for somebody.
So you're renting a business for somebody, so you have an additional income that way?
Yeah. I got a 2 limit here.
Yeah. We're asking now specifically about your rental income.
Rental income?
Yeah, you said you had rental income as well.
I can't say exactly because I got the accounting.
So if you're providing the accountant the figures, you would know how much you were earning?
Every month I got 200.
You get 200?
Yeah,
I thought you said 2,500.
Sorry, every week, sorry.
Every week you get 200?
Every week, 200.
Right, that's only 800 a month.
The man seems to be confused about his finances.
Just stay with your money just now, sir. I'm going to make some calls and check something. I'll be right back to you, okay? Just watch your money.
The officer suspects that deliberately or otherwise, he may not be paying his taxes. Back at Gatwick, officers are continuing to investigate a couple who've been acting nervously since arriving back in the UK from Jamaica.
How did you finance the trip?
I'd say
This remains doubtful given neither of the couple currently work.
this is our reward for putting through this year.
Right, okay.
The questioning starts to make the man defensive.
Yeah, it's an expensive trip for somebody who's not working, okay? Unfortunately, I understand that.
But it's not just here the couple have aroused suspicion.
Searched in Jamaica,
That's quite ironic, actually. We've had this treatment both ends so far.
All right.
don't know why we're still
We almost missed a flight.
Okay. I'm afraid I will have to ask for rub-down searches on both of you anyway, okay?
Now we're going to go to the search of person. If we don't find anything in there, we find sort of additional factors from the search, we'll think again about what we're going to do.
Both passengers are taken to separate rooms and searched individually to see if they're carrying any drugs on their bodies.
I'm just trying to see if there's any traces in the shoes to establish if she's a swimmer.
If passengers are carrying drugs internally, traces are often excreted through the sweat glands in feet.
That seems okay in the green colour.
The woman's shoes come back clear. With no hard evidence found on her, she's released to await the outcome of her partner.
Just going to pat you down, basically. Okay. Let's see you hold your feet there as well. I think we're just about done.
Surprisingly, nothing is found on the male passenger either. Despite their erratic behaviour and very unusual story, the couple are free to go.
They're actually very, very nervous. They were marching up and down left, right and centre. There was a change in the booking of the tickets. He was unemployed. How did he afford a holiday like that with no job?
Although their conduct still remains suspicious, Officer Pete has no option but to accept their version of events.
Don't know what it was about, but as he said, it was a holiday to celebrate being unemployed, and that was it.
In Birmingham, officers are investigating a suspected tax evader who's trying to take more than £3,000 in cash out to China.
I'll just tell you what's happening just now, sir. Because you've got more than £1,000 in cash, customs investigate the source of the cash. Now, as long as your money comes from a legitimate source, the money will be returned to you. Now, just let me finish, right? The officer's going back to do some checks just now with the tax office to see how much you've declared over the last 3 years. So, in your suitcase downstairs, we're bringing that up just now. How much do you think you've got in there? Be honest with me.
300 to 500.
Is that all you've got in there? Right, okay.
The man's checked-in suitcase has been retrieved. Officers will exhaust every avenue to check his story.
Did you pack this bag yourself, sir? Did you pack it? Everything in the bag, does it belong to you?
Yes.
Are you carrying anything for anybody else today? No.
More checks are conducted to confirm how much income tax the man has paid from his restaurant business.
I'm going to go in and check what his earnings are, okay?
With just minutes before the man's flight is due to depart, officers will have to make a very quick decision about whether to let the man leave the country with his cash.
You told me you were a director of a limited company.
Yeah, two limited.
Yeah, and you say you earn $2,500 roughly a month.
Hey, the electric £6.
Once again, the officer works out the passenger's outgoings, but they don't seem to tally with what he's declared to the tax office.
We've got you declared your total income of $16,334.
16,000.
Yeah. Now, if you're saying you only earn £16,000 a year, you told me you get paid at least £800 a month from the other restaurant, okay? So that's going to take you right up to 22 grand right away.
You do a long bit.
It seems there's a big discrepancy with the man's finances. If he's to catch his flight, there's no time to argue.
Yeah, mate, what's going on with this? We need to make a decision ASAP.
Stand by.
The man gets a lucky escape.
What I'm going to do just now, sir, is I'm going to let you travel today because your flight's leaving imminently and I don't have time to do the additional checks I need to do. So I'm going to let you fly today, but I'm going to put a referral into the tax office because I believe you're not declaring the income. Put your stuff back in the case and fly today, sir, right? Okay? And that's it, finished today, okay?
Thank you.
No problem.
The man is fortunate to be allowed to leave the country with his cash, but he's likely to be in trouble with the tax office when he returns. The group of suspected cigarette smugglers in Bristol were required to pay the unpaid duty on their 37,000 cigarettes to get their car back. As yet, it remains unclaimed. At Gatwick Airport, a flight has just landed from Montego Bay in Jamaica. UK border agency officers are using drug detection dogs and an X-ray machine to monitor luggage coming off the flight. A dog indication has been given on 2 suitcases, and the X-ray strongly suggests that there are drug smugglers on the flight. In the baggage reclaim area, officers closely monitor the first of the passengers to collect one of the suspect's suitcases. A young mother and child collect the case and head towards the customs channels. It's here that Officer Mike steps in to stop the woman and break the news to her.
Controlled drug. Your bags. The bags you just said are yours. Therefore, I am arresting you on suspicion of being involved in the importation of controlled drug. Do not have to say anything. It may harm your defence. Do not mention when questioned. Something may later rely in court. Anything you do say may be given in evidence. Do you understand?
The woman is led away for further questioning, but protests her innocence.
Please don't play them games. Right, we're going to be getting some women in to search you anyway.
That's fine.
Meanwhile, the second suspect suitcase is collected by another passenger.
Hello there, sir. You travelling alone today? Just bring your bag over to the bench for me, please.
The man declares he's the owner of the suitcase, so Officer Gary confirms his fate.
I'm arresting you on suspicion of the illegal importation of a controlled drug into the UK. You do not have to say anything, but it may harm your defence if you don't mention, when questioned, something which you later rely on in court. Anything you do say may be given in evidence. Do you understand you've been arrested and cautioned? Right, if you come this way, Billy.
The man is also led away for further questioning.
Straight over towards that officer over there.
With both passengers now under arrest, Gary can finally inspect the suspicious brown packages found in the suitcases.
We suspect them to contain herbal cannabis, and that's why the gentleman's been arrested and cautioned.
The contents of the packages will need to be formally assessed to get an idea about the weight and the value of the drugs. Since being in custody, the male passenger's mobile phone has gone off several times.
Certainly trying to get hold of you, aren't they? That's his mobile phone keep going off. It's obviously his accomplices trying to find out where he is, hopefully looking for their commodity, which they're not going to get.
In Gatwick's South Terminal, passengers have just arrived from Madrid, and border agency officers are on the lookout for signs of suspicious behaviour. A lone male passenger who started his journey in Argentina has been intercepted. After a routine baggage search, Officer Johnson has found thousands of dollars in cash, which the passenger hasn't declared.
Found some money. I've not counted it yet, but he's actually told me that it's about $35,000.
Okay, is that US dollars?
US
yeah,
dollars.
Okay.
There.
What's he doing with it? What's he say he's doing with it?
Doesn't have any specific reason for having it.
Any sum of cash over 10,000 euros needs to be declared.
Yeah, will do. Okay.
Officers are entitled to question passengers carrying anything over 1,000 euros to ensure it has no links to organised crime.
The legislation is such that it's down to the individual to prove that the money is his and is for a legitimate purpose. So if we're not sure or uncertain of anything they're saying, we can detain the money, and it's down to them to, like I say, prove that it is legit.
With such a large sum of cash, background checks are carried out on the passenger to find out if he has any prior offences.
Greg, it's Kim. Yeah. Well, he's got 35,000 US on him, so yeah, it's anything really. We just see what we can get on him. Thanks, Greg.
Kim joins her colleague Johnson to continue with the questioning about where the cash has come from.
The money is mine.
The money is all yours. Yeah. Well, what is it for?
Well, this is the one where I explained to your colleague. I just went back to Argentina for a week. Because my mother died 4 or 5 years ago. And then we just finished all the stuff with regards to the money and
The will and the inheritance. Yeah. Okay.
This is basically my share.
Have you got documentation to prove that? Because otherwise the money can be seized off you. Because you're travelling with over £5,000 worth of cash and you haven't got any...
Oh no, certainly I can, I mean...
And how long would it take you to get these documents?
Well, they're in Argentina.
They're in Argentina, are they?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I can get copies.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever the courier takes.
With no documents or other evidence showing where the money's come from, it looks increasingly unlikely the man will be leaving the airport with his cash. In the airport's North Terminal, officers are still investigating the 2 passengers who were found to have what looks like packages of herbal cannabis in their suitcases. A strip search was conducted on both passengers, but no further packages were found. The woman is led away to the airport's custody suite to be detained, whilst Officer Mike assesses the quantity and value of the drugs found in her suitcase.
She had 8 blocks in the bag, all of them are about 2 kilos each, but I'll chuck them on the scales in a minute and just get a weight of all of them together.
With such a large haul of suspect packages, a field test must be conducted to confirm that the substance definitely is herbal cannabis.
Put the first drop on it, then that will go through onto the second bit of filter paper. Then put some of this powdery stuff on it. And if it's positive, it should go sort of a dark red colour. Right, that's a positive then.
OK, there's a couple of blankets there. If you want anything, just give us a buzz. OK?
The male passenger is also detained at the custody suite.
There's not a lot you can do until he actually gets his solicitor, speaks to him. Then after that, other officers will go and interview him. And until then, we're just now going to go through the bags and find out exactly what he's got.
A series of large, brown, sealed packages are pulled from the bottom of the man's suitcase. There are 8 blocks in total, making it another very significant seizure. Gary weighs the packages of drugs to find out how much the male passenger was carrying.
And as you can see there, the 8 blocks weigh approximately 17.26 kilograms. So there's probably about 16.5 to 17 kilograms of herbal cannabis within them packages.
With 2 suitcases full of herbal cannabis being intercepted from the same flight, officers are delighted with the seizure. The 16 blocks found in both suitcases weighed over 34 kilograms in total and had a street value of £80,000 to £100,000. In the South Terminal, officers are still trying to decide what to do with the man who failed to declare he was carrying over $35,000 US and £5,000 in cash.
Yeah.
If, I don't know if it's going to help, but I can call Buenos Aires, just try to find my father, and ask him just to fax the documents. The problem is they're going to be in Spanish.
That's going to be the problem. I think we'll just wait till the officers finish this search and then we'll go from there, OK?
If no evidence can be shown for where the cash has come from, drastic action may have to be taken.
If he can't show us any kind of trail for this and the paperwork's all going to come via his dad, the solicitor, you're going to have to take the money off him. Okay, and then they'll...
I think he knows that, actually.
Oh, well, I've told him. He's got a laptop, hasn't he?
He has a laptop there.
If you ask him, is there any way he can show proof of where this money's come from on that?
Yeah. OK, I'll go speak to him.
Yeah. We'll get everything out the back for a search.
Officer Johnson bags up the man's cash and leads him away for a search and further questioning.
So what are you going to do with the money you've got now then? This money you've got with you today, what are you going to do?
This one?
Yeah.
I was planning just to basically... first, we were thinking on doing an extension in the house.
Yeah.
But we didn't discuss further, really. It's not a decision.
No.
So in the meantime, probably going to...
Have you got kids in that?
Yes.
How many?
2 kids.
Oh, all right.
The reason why I did this way, I don't have an account in Buenos Aires anymore.
But the man's answers are starting to convince. After Kim's background searches show nothing on their system, the officers have a change of heart.
Sarah, it's Kim. Hi, this is going nowhere. I think I've seen his business card. He's on $60,000 a year. He gets, on average, $5,000–6,000 a year bonus. He's got a 3-bedroom house. When Franco asked him what he wanted to use the money for, he was going to put some in the bank, and he was talking about actually perhaps doing an extension because his kitchen's a bit small. I mean, he's very relaxed. His non-verbals are very good as well. I think he's a genuine guy, and I think we'll just send him away. Yeah, Yeah, and just say next time, make sure you bring all the documents with you.
Thank you very much.
All right, mate, that way I'll come with you.
Despite their initial reservations, officers are happy with the man's story and let him leave the airport with all of his cash. Coming up, a man from Trinidad and Tobago causes suspicion after leaving his country for the very first time.
Just ticking a lot of boxes, mate.
Yeah.
Very potentially.
At Gatwick Airport's South Terminal, a number of European flights have just arrived, and Border Agency Officer Paul is X-raying suitcases for excessive quantities of cigarettes. Cheap cigarettes purchased outside of the European Union are often brought into the country to be sold illegally for personal profit. One bag spotted on the X-ray is suspected to contain lots of non-EU cigarettes, so Paul heads to the luggage reclaim area to see who claims the bag.
If I can just see your passports.
Quick look in the black bag.
Thanks. Are these your bags?
Yes.
Yes. Did you pack them yourself?
Yes.
Yes. Do you have anything to declare to customs?
Customs? We European Union.
Yes. Okay. Do you have any cigarettes with you? I know we.
Some. Two first.
Yeah, but how many cigarettes have you got?
Smuggled 3 for Calina.
Any in your luggage?
No.
No cigarettes?
No.
Right. Okay.
Apart from these ones.
Straight away, the couple are busted.
Cigarettes. So why didn't you tell me?
I don't know.
You don't know why you didn't tell me? Okay.
More cigarettes are found concealed in cereal boxes.
So why are they hidden? You don't know why you hide them, and you don't know why you didn't tell me about them.
For friends.
You do know what's going to happen, don't you? You're going to lose all these cigarettes, yes? The cigarettes are not purchased in the European Union, are they? They're not tax-paid cigarettes anyway.
Is there a problem with this?
Yes, absolutely there's a problem. When you lie to me and you try to hide cigarettes, then yes, there's a problem. Do you not understand that?
The way the cigarettes have been hidden in cereal boxes suggests the couple know their allowance.
So how much can I bring with me? I am smoking.
I think you know exactly what you're allowed.
Yeah, but
and that's why you hid. That's why you hid these.
How much can I bring with me?
Well, you know that you're in the European Union, and if you buy tax-paid cigarettes in the European Union, then you can bring in this amount. But these aren't tax-paid cigarettes, are they?
That's it.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Because at the moment you haven't been honest with me, so I need to check everything, don't I?
With a total of 1,800 cigarettes, the unpaid duty is worth £360.
Okay, 2 forms. I've got to issue these to you. One's a warning letter and one's a seizure information notice. Thanks very much.
Paul seizes all of the cigarettes and the couple are let off with a warning.
I mean, he just obviously looked down at his feet, almost like schoolboyish. If I don't look at you, then and don't speak to you, then it's not really happening.
In Gatwick's North Terminal, a plane has just come in from Port of Spain via St. Lucia. Flights from the Caribbean are a popular transit route for drug smugglers, and officers working in immigration have concerns about one particular passenger. As he collects his suitcase from the luggage carousel, Officer Paul escorts him through to the customs channels.
Do you have anything to declare to customs? Cigarettes, alcohol, drugs, firearms? One bottle of alcohol, okay.
Sniffer dog Bren also shows an interest in the passenger.
He showed an awful lot of interest in this gentleman here. Didn't as such indicate, but it gave me enough information to say, yeah, I want that looked at.
Okay, sir. Need to ask some questions about your luggage. Has anybody given you anything at all to bring here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm from Trinidad.
Okay.
Sending things.
So when did you arrange this trip?
Well, she arranged this trip last month.
Last month?
Yeah. She told me last time she was in Trinidad to get her passport and she was invited to come up.
And who bought your ticket?
She did.
Do you know what she does for work?
Pardon?
Do you know what your auntie does for work here?
No.
No, you don't know that.
Paul conducts a thorough search of the man's bags for any signs of drugs.
So in Trinidad,
You're a fisherman, yeah? Yeah. And how much do you get paid doing that then?
Well, I'm self-employed.
You're self-employed.
So
Depends how many fish you catch.
depends on how many fish.
So what are you intending to do while you're here?
Just visit.
And what made you want to visit this country?
Well, my aunt told me come up and see the autumn, how the leaves fall and whatnot.
But the man's story about the seasons doesn't convince.
So you've come here to see autumn, have you? Wow. It's your first time to travel. So you've never even been to another Caribbean island or anything? I can leave that with you, and I'll have a chat with my boss, and I'll be back with you in a minute, all right? Just ticking a lot of boxes, mate.
Yeah.
Very potentially, third party, his auntie bought the ticket, he's got 300 Trinidad and Tobago dollars with him.
That's it.
He's never even travelled abroad before.
The dog is so interesting. So
On his body. His groin area, should we do strip? Yeah, good stripping. Hello, sir. I want to do a search on you, okay? To make sure you don't have anything on your body. What we'll do is we'll go to a private room, okay?
Suspecting he may have swallowed packages of drugs, the man is led away for further investigation. Across in Gatwick's South Terminal, it's not just drugs that the border agency are looking out for. Officer Liz is working in the baggage reclaim area with sniffer dog Cody, who's the airport's newest dog trained specifically in the detection of products of animal origin.
It stems back from when we had the foot-and-mouth outbreak, and we're trying to sort of stop any sort of food products coming out from outside the EU, certainly meats, cheeses, any sort of products of animal origin really. If there's any sort of parasites or any sort of bacteria, etc., that could get into our own food chain, this is what we really are trying to prevent.
Passengers from Istanbul have just arrived, and officers in the customs channels are making a number of seizures of meat and other banned foods. One passenger has caught the attention of officers after her suitcase was found to contain a number of animal skins.
They've had a look in the bag, they've come across these skins. She's claiming they're rabbit, but they're clearly not rabbit. They're all going to be detained. If they're okay, they'll be forwarded on to her, but until we get confirmation, they're going to be detained.
The animal skins will be sent to a specialist unit at Heathrow Airport who deal with items that are suspected to originate from endangered species.
Certainly a couple of these look like cat, some sort of big game cat probably. Deer, elk, maybe, and I mean the obvious thing would say bear there, but until we get it properly looked at, it's going to be very difficult to sort of see really exactly what we are dealing with.
It's an unusual discovery, so Officer Allen decides to use the seizure as a training aid for sniffer dog Cody.
He's still sort of quite a young dog, so he's still new to the actual work. So yes, we use the word scent library. It's a new scent for the dog. He's never come across these pelts before. So it's what we do, we can put him in the bag and hopefully he'll remember this smell. It's all part of a sort of development of a young dog, definitely.
The animal skins are hidden in a case.
Just start from there.
And Cody shows an interest first time.
Good boy, yay, clever boy.
It's early days, but Cody seems to have made a flying start to his new life as a sniffer dog at Gatwick. In the airport's North Terminal, the man suspected of having swallowed packages of drugs is still under investigation.
What I want to do on you is strip search, okay? Because the dog showed an interest around the groin area, okay?
Okay, I understand.
Officer Paul conducts a thorough search of the passenger, but he's not found to be hiding anything.
You're not intending to stay here, no?
No.
You sure?
Positively sure about that.
But you don't have a return ticket, no?
They told me I have to return on the 14th of November.
Yeah.
But I didn't get any thing as yet, so...
There's one final way of finding out whether the man is smuggling drugs inside his body.
Another way people can bring drugs in the country is to have it inside them. Yeah.
Oh.
We have a machine which can do an X-ray. You okay to do that for us?
Why not?
Why not? Okay, good man.
The fisherman volunteers to do a full-body X-ray. It will take just moments to find out if he's got drugs inside him.
Right, come up here and I'll show you.
Right, this is conveyor belt, okay? Okay, so you're going to stand on this, stand up here, and it's going to move when I say, face this way, face this way. Alright, come closer to me here, that's it, legs apart a bit more. Alright, you need to stay very still, otherwise it won't work and we'll have to do it again, okay? Alright, so now, breathe, and breathe out.
Okay, sir, thank you very much.
Despite their suspicions, this time the X-ray shows there are no packages inside the man's body.
My colleague upstairs still has an interest in you, okay? He's basically a fisherman in Trinidad and Tobago. He doesn't earn very much money. His ticket was bought yesterday by a third party, which is supposedly an auntie, but he doesn't know what that auntie even does for a job or anything like that. Basically, his story and his reasons for coming here not only drew our attention, but also the immigration officials upstairs. So unless possibly they can find this auntie and she could substantiate why he's here, he may be on the next flight home. We'll have to see.
The man was questioned further by officers in immigration and was eventually denied entry into the UK. The two cannabis smugglers found with 8 blocks each in their suitcases both pleaded guilty to drug smuggling. The man was sentenced to 15 months and the woman awaits sentencing. UK customs officers are at war with smugglers in the ports, airports and at sea. Coming up, Anne's tobacco seizure sets sparks flying.
There is a guideline of 3,000.
It's a guideline.
Yeah, but it's still 90. I'm giving you my. I'm not going to argue about it. I'm giving you my reasons.
Suspicions are raised on board searcher when a sailor tries to stop officers coming on board.
Come on board, we're on getting back to port. We're coming on board now, sir.
And Rossi sniffs out Class A drugs in Gatwick.
It's a drugs dog. Explained to you from your baggage, and I've got a very high hit for traces of cocaine.
Customs officers are always on high alert for bootleggers using cheap flights to bring in tobacco to sell illegally on the UK's booming black market. In Bristol, officers have received intelligence that a known bootlegger is returning from Malaga in a group of 4. The main target had over 26 kilos of tobacco seized only 2 weeks ago. Will he be mad enough to try again?
Oh, there we go. Tobacco. Lots of it.
The X-ray has found 4 bags full of tobacco. Now it's up to Anne and the team to stop and question the passengers and prove that the tobacco is not for their own personal use. Bootleggers come in all shapes and sizes. This time it's a retired couple who pick up 3 of the 4 suspect bags and then split from the group. They almost make it through the channels, but Anne closes in.
Is it only the 2 of you? Yeah.
The 3 holdalls are stacked with tobacco. The main target has slipped through empty-handed, but the final passenger in the group isn't so lucky. Her bag contains 30 kilos of tobacco, 10 times the guidelines. The couple have another 57 kilos. Altogether, an amount like this is a criminal matter. No wonder they're pretending not to know each other.
Okay, I'm just going to do a couple of checks on your passport a minute.
They're saying they're travelling just together, don't they?
Yeah.
Get them to say that again. She's saying she's travelling on her own. They're in a group. They're together.
Yes.
They've got 57 kilos between them.
Isn't that arrestable?
Could be. Only if we can tie them in together.
Tying the passengers to each other proves a little easier than Anne and Joe expected.
Are you together or do you know each other?
Well, we've come together.
Are you travelling together? You're travelling together, okay. They've all just admitted that they're travelling together because they were talking to each other.
Did they say that initially when you stopped?
No, he lied.
Travelling by himself.
Yeah. So obviously I don't believe that this sort of amount can be for your own personal use.
Believe that.
The sheer amount that you've brought in.
I've never been in trouble with the police, never been in trouble with the customs. We smoke tobacco, and that is for our use.
They have enough tobacco to last 14 years, but it was split between 3 passengers, so it won't be treated as criminal. But they will now be interviewed to decide the fate of the tobacco.
I do not believe for 1 minute that is for their own personal use. Even if they were smoking, you know, 100 cigarettes a day.
He seems pretty adamant that he's done nothing wrong, and
that's right.
That's the most I've seen come through the airport in the last couple of years, I must say.
At this point, most bootleggers simply admit defeat and abandon their goods. But this passenger decides he won't go down without a fight. In Gatwick, sniffer dog Rossi and his handler Claire are targeting another Spanish flight, this time for Class A drugs. Each dog has only one handler, and their close bond means that Claire knows when Rossi picks up even a hint of drugs.
Do you want to stand still for a second, mate?
The passenger is intercepted and seems very nervous, but Andy's bag search finds nothing.
What's that? Just a charm. Yeah.
Not convinced, Andy swabs the bag for drugs and picks up a massive hit for cocaine.
Quick chat with him. He's very, very nervous. And taking an iron track off there, got a hit of 4, so I'm going to get an SOP in him, but I wouldn't be surprised if he's got something on him.
Okay.
All right?
All right.
Okay.
It seems Rossi and Claire were right. So Andy confronts the passenger with the evidence.
It's a drugs dog. I've spoken to you. You seem very nervous, okay? I've taken a swab, as I explained to you, from your baggage, and I've got a very high hit for traces of cocaine. So what I want to do is search you to make sure you have nothing on you.
No problem, sir.
Okay, you understand that?
Yes,
okay.
no problem.
Do you have any objections to that?
Pardon,
you have any objection? Any problem with that?
No, you
okay,
can check me everything you want, okay?
The passenger is playing innocent, but the search of person will prove if he's telling the truth. Back in Bristol, Anne's preparing for a fight with the passengers caught with 87 kilos of tobacco. They have enough tobacco to last a heavily addicted smoker 14 years, but neither have yet asked for a cigarette.
You said that I took an hour to write up my notebook.
No, you left us outside waiting for it.
Yeah, you actually said that I took an hour to write up my notebook. That were yours.
I said, my specific words were, you left us sitting out there for an hour in the freezing cold. I did not say, but don't, let's get it straight.
Okay, well,
little girl,
tell you what.
if you're
no,
going to write,
don't try and intimidate me.
You are intimidating me.
No,
little
not
girl,
at all.
you write
I've
it
just been
properly.
straight with you.
You do your job properly, or don't do it at all. Bring somebody else
Look,
in.
if you're going to take this attitude,
yes.
I'm not going to interview you. I'll invite you back at a different date when you calm
you
down.
come to my house and interview me.
No,
invite me
that
back.
doesn't happen.
Well, you
Sorry.
bring somebody else then.
Until you're prepared to speak to me in a proper
don't
manner,
miss-
I won't deal with you.
What planet are you on, for goodness sake? You people, get to the dock, stop the people coming in. Do your job.
Okay.
You know, don't do the little end. You're like policemen who pick people up for parking. Catch the criminals. We're not criminals.
Well, actually, it's a very large quantity of cigarettes.
No, it's tobacco. You want to get that right. But it is not a large quantity for somebody that smokes all the time. Two people. Really? You smoke, do you?
It's a large quantity.
Do you smoke, do you? No, it is. Because you're telling me it's a large quantity. I'm saying, did you smoke?
No,
you're not qualified to judge, are you?
I am, because
No, you're not. Bring somebody in that's qualified to judge. You don't smoke. You don't know how much tobacco goes in a rollie, do you?
Yes.
You haven't got a clue.
Well, look.
Right. So anyway, go away. Bring the little girl back with what I've just said.
No, you don't speak to us like that.
Why not? This is disgraceful, and it will not end here, I can tell you. We are not criminals. You are treating us like criminals.
Picking out the criminals amongst the innocent passengers is a skill that comes only from experience. And customs officers in Gatwick have seen it all when it comes to the risks smugglers will take to make money from drugs. One smuggler that stands out from all the rest is Paul Brady.
Well, when I stopped Mr. Brady in the Green Channel, I examined his baggage and found really nothing of customs interest at all. But there was something about him that I wasn't satisfied with. And generally, if somebody hasn't got anything in their baggage of customs interest, then they may have smuggled it elsewhere. So Mr Brady was then taken to a private room and he was searched.
The body search found nothing, so suspicions now centred on what Brady might have hidden inside his body.
A sample of urine was taken from him and tested on our machine at Gatwick, and the result indicated the presence of cocaine inside of his body. And I then arrested him on suspicion of importing a controlled drug into the UK, concealed internally.
Officers wanted to X-ray Brady to prove he'd swallowed packages of cocaine, but he refused. Instead, he was detained in a Gatwick custody cell while officers waited for the evidence to emerge. Brady had begun a waiting game that would go down in customs history.
He was refusing to eat any food. He refused to drink any drinks that we provided to him unless it was a can of Coke which he could open himself, and that's all he would do. And of course this went on and on.
Without food, it soon became a week without him going to the toilet. But officers had Brady under 24-hour surveillance to ensure none of the vital evidence was missed.
We had to have grounds to keep him in our custody when we had to go in front of the magistrate every 7 days. One of the things we did was to iron scan his suit, and this indicated whether we still may have the cocaine level was actually going up, which it was.
After 3 weeks, and with drugs seeping into his system, they began to fear for Brady's life, but he refused to give in.
It would only take a very small amount to actually kill the person outright, so it's a dangerous thing to do anyway.
After a staggering 48 days of defiance, it was the smell of the custody officer's lunch which finally forced Brady to crack.
After 48 days, I was actually off shift and I was at home, and I had a call from my main manager at Gatwick, who telephoned me to said yes, he's produced. So it was quite an emotional time, and I still feel quite emotional talking about it now, so it was sort of relief.
Consuming his first meal for 7 weeks, the officers wouldn't have to wait long to get their hands on the evidence.
And he just gave in completely, so he must have been absolutely starving, but obviously the body couldn't take it. And I had to sit with him along with my colleagues to recover the remaining packages from his body.
The stubbornness of Brady was beaten only by the determination of the officers at Gatwick.
I mean, give him his due, he gave it a good try, didn't he? And he pleaded the only thing he could do best, which was to plead guilty at Croydon Crown Court, where the judge gave him the sentence of 5 years. And that's something I'm proud of, you know, so it was good.
In Gatwick, Andy's search of person has identified the cause of the positive cocaine hit. The man has confessed to using cocaine whilst in Spain.
So you say the reason for the high reading that we got here was because you had a couple of lines of coke yesterday?
Oh, okay.
Yeah? Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite high. You use it quite regularly?
No, not very much, actually.
Okay.
Not very much.
Having confessed to using cocaine abroad, the man's now trying to avoid trouble.
Came up with a very high reading for cocaine. When I put that to him, just inside the room there, why that would be, he said, well, he had a couple of lines of coke yesterday with his girlfriend, which would do the trick. So stripped him off, nothing there at all, and gradually calmed down once he realised that that was what we were going to do. So
no guilt, yeah?
Thank you.
Welcome.
Bye.
The high reading was from personal use, so a disappointed Andy has to let him go.
So nothing today, maybe next time.
Customs ship Searcher has tracked a yacht sailing towards the southwest coast of England. Within the 12-mile limit, any vessel is a potential smuggler, and customs officers have the power to board and search.
This is the 6 miles. You can see that the target vessel that we're interested in is just off the 6-mile limit, so he's well within the 12.
What's using the plate?
The cutter launches the high-speed rip team from the stern, giving the yacht no time to hide any goods on board or jettison any drugs into the sea. The boarding team don't need the skipper's permission, but he seems unaware of their powers.
Customs, sir, we're just going to pop on board for a second.
Come on board, we're not getting back to port.
When we get back to port, we've actually got to come on board now, sir.
Pardon?
We're coming on board now, sir. How long have you been over in the Sillies?
2 days.
2 days.
I can hear the RIB crew saying they're going to take some swabs on board the vessel, some iron track swabs, and then they're going to bring them back to the cutter, and we can test to see if there's any traces of narcotics or explosives on the yacht.
To avoid upsetting innocent sailors as much as possible, the drug swabs quickly identify any wrongdoing. The man's initial attitude may be a good sign of a smuggler, but the swabs will be the ultimate test.
If he's got anything on his hands, that will have moved onto the tiller. Nothing there. The swabs are negative, and there's no trace of any drugs on that particular boat. All negative. Nice, clean yacht.
There it is. Let's get the boys back in then.
Quickly exonerating the innocent is as important as arresting the guilty, and this sailor is free to continue his journey. And after the 12-hour shift, the cutter searcher returns to port. Meanwhile, in Gatwick, police have arrested a man as he stepped off a flight from the Caribbean. His problems get worse when the officers bring him through customs.
He's dressed very smartly. Why is he wearing a suit? Was he sitting in economy or was he flying Virgin upper class? Why did he wear a suit? No one else on the flight is wearing a suit.
But, we'll find out. We'll ask him a few questions. Well, what's happened is that the police had warrants, outstanding warrants for this man. And as soon as he came off the plane, they arrested him at that stage. And they brought him up here. And as the flight is one which has brought previous jobs to us, shall we say, they asked us if we wanted to have a look through his luggage. And the obvious thing is that, given the risk of drugs coming in from there, we said yes. So we've gone through the luggage, and what we want to do now is just to make sure he's got no drugs on his person.
Many smugglers try hard to look innocent, and Chris asks permission to do a body search.
He's arrived on a flight from Montego Bay. And as you can see, he's probably the most smartly dressed guy on the flight, dressed in a suit, which is ostensibly a holiday destination. It seems as though he's got various layers on as well. Yeah. So I just want to rub him down, make sure there's nothing under all those layers.
That's fine, Chris. Yeah, 8:15.
Cheers. Thanks very much.
OK, if you come this way.
With us as well? Stay with him. Right, if you can follow us.
OK.
Catching drug smugglers is a daily occurrence at Gatwick, and officers find packages in a variety of places. The strip search is as uninvasive as possible, but it's an uncomfortable experience, especially when Jeff discovers the initial reason for the man's arrest.
He's actually wanted for a driving offence, but you know, we have to make 100% certain. So we did a quick search and nothing was found, so we've handed him back to the police. He's been rearrested and taken back down to the station.
This man isn't a smuggler and leaves cooperatively with the police. Meanwhile, in Bristol, 3 passengers have been caught with 87 kilos of tobacco, but they're not going quietly.
You have treated us really badly, really badly, like we've done something wrong.
Until you're prepared to speak to me in a proper manner, I won't deal with you.
It's the biggest haul the team have seen in years, but the man is adamant it's not being brought in to sell on the black market. Anne's decided to interview the man to see if he's telling the truth. If not, the £11,000 worth of tobacco will all be seized and destroyed.
How much do you smoke a week on average?
So, 2-3 packs a day, so...
2 or 3 50-gram packs?
Yeah, generally 2.
Okay.
So.
How many cigarettes do you tend to make from one 50-gram pouch of tobacco? What could you get to?
30.
Okay. Have one 50-gram pouch. On a good day, he gets 20 out of it. Okay, sorry. He would expect those goods to last him 9 to 10 months.
All right, give him the benefit of the doubt. 30 kilos are for him.
Yeah.
That's 600 pouches, and he reckons 10 months.
Yeah. Definitely not longer than a year. Because he bought the same amount last year. And
That means he's going to be smoking 8.5 pouches a week. Totally and utterly ridiculous.
Oh, he says he smokes 2 pouches a day. 2 to 3 pouches a day.
A day?
The only thing I haven't asked is about rolling. Because are we allowed to ask that? Are we?
What do you mean? Getting to roll you what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you to roll one of these for me.
Really? I'm
Yeah.
not playing any silly games.
Well, you've said that you can roll.
Look, I've been very good. I've played the game.
Yeah,
You've
but
asked
I'm
all
not
the
asking.
questions. You've asked, and if you really think at 65 years old I've smoked all my life, I'm now going to play a silly game.
I'm asking you to roll one cigarette.
No way. I'm not being silly. No way. That's insulting.
The 2 other passengers have had their goods seized. And now the moment of truth. Anne has to decide if the angry passenger gets to keep his tobacco. And he's not going to be happy.
I've looked over what has been said today, and you failed to satisfy me that the tobacco is for your own use for the following reasons. I'll give you the reasons. 1, the excessive quantity is actually 9 times over the guideline of what you are supposed to bring in from an...
Not what I'm supposed to smoke, yeah, fine. When you say guideline...
Yeah, there is a guideline of 3,000...
It's a guideline.
Yeah, but it's still 9... I'm giving you my... I'm not going to argue about it. I'm giving you my reasons. Consumption, 3 pouches a day is grossly excessive.
Right, yeah, OK, go on. Right, you're going to tell me what to
You've got no smoking paraphernalia at all.
That's correct.
You refuse to roll a cigarette for no reason.
Correct. Not for no reason. I made it clear
It's not
to you
credible.
that I'm not going to demonstrate.
Okay, fine. You refuse
drink
to
a cup of tea.
I didn't ask you
a
to
bottle of wine.
drink
No,
a
I'm
cup of
telling
tea.
you that. You asked me to do something just as benign.
Look, can you just listen, please?
Just sign it, please, and we can get to the court.
Right. It's not credible to import this quantity when travelling again in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Inconsistencies in your account. You actually said...
Inconsistencies in my account?
Just let me finish,
yeah, go
right?
On, let's hear it.
You actually said that on the same flight, your son and a female friend of his travelled, whereas your wife told Mr. Hanlon that nobody else that you knew travelled. That is the point. That is the point.
If we were travelling on
We're
our
not going
own?
to...
When you were being questioned? Did they ask you if you're travelling on our own? Yeah, well, we are.
Well, you're not because you know other...
Well, no, I knew
are you
another lady I was
suggesting
sitting beside.
that Mrs. didn't know that her own son was also on the flight?
What I'm saying to you is we are travelling on our own. That's what my wife said. Anyway, get to it.
It's also not credible to get only 20 or 30 or even 40 cigarettes from a 50-gram pouch of tobacco.
Right then.
Generally, you would get at least 80 to 100 cigarettes out of...
Not if you roll them in a bag.
What, so are you suggesting that you roll them...
I'm not suggesting anything. Let's go to court and have my solicitor run rings round you.
If you could sign. Look, you need to sign the date as well.
Sign the date. You put the date. You don't
Look,
sign
I'm
the
not
date.
going to argue with you about sign.
I'm just trying to get you to behave correctly.
I don't think I need you to teach me how to do that.
Somebody needs to teach you.
I could say the same about you.
Anne's ordeal is finally over.
He was trying to intimidate me, I think perhaps because he thought I was a girl, like he was calling me little girl and stuff and waving his finger in my face. But that doesn't intimidate me. He was just nitpicking at things, really, because he knew that he hadn't got a leg to stand on.
The passengers walk away empty-handed, having lost 87 kilos, which will now all be destroyed. The angry man in Bristol made an official complaint about his treatment and is still planning to fight the seizure in court. Customs officers are at war with smugglers in the ports, airports, and at sea. Coming up, a bag gives a massive hit for cocaine in Bristol.
Pretty high.
Surveillance officers eavesdrop on a cannabis gang.
And he was actually arrested in Belgium with 63 kilos of cannabis in a light aircraft.
And suspects in Gatwick who definitely aren't dog lovers.
And one was suspected of involvement in a previous drugs importation, surgically inserting drugs into dogs, a Labrador.
In Dover, officers have pulled a truck full of resin granules, perfect for concealing large quantities of drugs or cigarettes, deep in the centre of the load, where even the powerful customs X-ray machine can't see clearly.
Well, it'd been scanned and we weren't sure whether there was anything there or not. We've been in and had a look, and it is, because it's the granules are so tightly packed, it's very dense, it's difficult for any sort of X-ray equipment to break it down.
The officer spots that the bags in the centre of the load have different packaging, and there's only one way to find out what's inside.
Basically, it looks like the two rear pallets are clean. They've just got the granules in, because you can see around the edges they've got the green writing on, whereas when you get those out of the way, the inner stack, the bottom three sacks are plain brown. There's no writing around the outside, so I'm 99.99% certain they've got cigarettes in them. So all we're going to do is just cut open those. The only thing is the granules they've packed around it are just going to go everywhere, so we have to tidy those up later. Presto, cigarettes.
It's a sophisticated attempt to smuggle hundreds of thousands of fags into the UK, but thanks to this team's experience, it's failed.
Makes it worthwhile, especially when you've got to go to a bit of effort to find it. And it looks like it's going to be exactly the same all the way down to the single pallets at the front, possibly. It goes as far as there.
These ones dirty?
Those ones are dirty, those ones are clean. 17 by 6 by 3,000. The front two, it looks like I've only got 3 bags, 3 dirty bags in each. So it's the equivalent of 17 dirty pallets.
So it's 304,000.
There you go. 306,000.
Which means the smugglers have laboriously stashed over 15,000 individual packs.
It's not actually that unusual. A lot of the Eastern Europeans, for some reason, quite often they'll be broken down into the packs of 20, but then sellotaped into carton sizes by breaking them down into smaller packages. Obviously, they can make it harder to find. It's always easier to find larger amounts than it is to find smaller amounts.
In Gatwick, officers are on the lookout for 2 passengers who've mysteriously split up at passport control.
But he came on his own, not with the other guys.
Right, okay.
One with previous charges of hardcore drug smuggling.
And one was suspected of involvement in a previous drugs importation. Actually putting drugs, surgically inserting drugs into dogs in a Labrador, and then importing the Labrador from Colombia. Although he wasn't found guilty of that offence, so clearly not a dog lover. What's interesting is the two they don't appear to have come through together.
The 2 men tried to disappear in the crowd, but the officers have them in their sights.
Hello, sir. Where have you come from today? Antigua. Antigua. I'd like to come over very quickly.
Both men are questioned to see if their stories match up.
And what was the reason for your trip?
Yeah. Well, to visit my mum.
Okay, and how long were you out there for?
2 weeks.
Lovely.
You travelling on your own today?
Pardon?
You travelling on your own today?
Yeah, well, a couple of us, but the rest of them is in the line.
Oh, right, sir.
Did you travel on your own today, sir? Sorry?
Yeah.
Yes, you did.
With their known connections with drug smuggling, their contradictory answers warrant further investigation.
Around the edge here, some sort of thickness there, but it seemed quite heavy. So what I'm going to do is just pierce it very quickly and see if anything comes out. No, it looks okay.
The drug swab gives a small hit for cocaine, and the 2 officers compare their findings.
He told me he's travelling with him.
My chap said he was on his own.
Right, the guy I've got said there were 10 of them over in Antigua. They didn't all go out together, they went out in various groups, met in Antigua, 10 of them, and today 3 of them have travelled back. Him and he pointed to the guy you're searching to say that they are travelling together. So.
All right then, right, that's interesting. When I first stopped you at the start, you know, as I was just explaining who I was and where you'd come from, and I asked if you'd travelled on your own. Now, my colleague just happened to be chatting out to another chap over there, and when we just happened to be out there at the same time, he said that actually this chap said he'd travelled with you?
Yeah, we all together were moving on our own, but yeah.
So when you said you'd travelled on your own...
No, I think even if I'm travelling with probably a woman or kids or something like that.
Right, okay, so, but you did... Yeah, okay. But was it just the two of you?
No, there's another one as well.
Okay. Thank you.
That's fair enough.
I'm actually, apart from, I'm nicking a bottle of honey, but apart from that, I'm completely happy.
You've got nothing at all, the guy I've got. He's not quite relaxed, actually.
Yeah, so are you happy?
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Finding nothing to justify a body search,
Thank you for your patience.
the two passengers are free to go.
There's your passport. Have a safe journey home. Cheers. He seemed an all right guy. I mean, not nervous at all. More than willing for me to do the search. And because of his cooperation, he's got it done a bit quicker, actually. So you want to catch people with drugs, but at the end of the day, you don't want to catch innocent people. So there it goes.
The war against drug gangs is also fought using undercover surveillance officers. In 2005, officers listening in on one smuggling plot picked up clues that another bigger importation was being hatched by three men.
It was carried out over a period of about 6 months. Some fairly intensive surveillance on a number of people, which included Simon Fisher, Thomas Little, Paul Phipps.
Undercover customs officers put the suspects under continuous surveillance. The officers began hearing hints of what sounded like a major drug smuggling plot.
Certain phrases were picked up by the officers while they were out on surveillance, and one of those was brave to do it, and the other was run. Run is a common term in smuggling parlance, one that we would expect to hear. Brave to do it really speaks for itself.
The officers were waiting for any hint of the next stage of the plot. The suspect's intentions became clearer when they were followed to a meeting with a pilot.
You saw the chap who turned out to be a pilot, Leith, make a gesture with his hand that seemed very much like a plane flying in, coming down low, and then taken up again. And this started to give us an idea of what was being discussed. Part of the surveillance took place in Etchin Hill a little while later, and on the seat of William Leith's car there was a map of the surrounding area, and Simon Fisher, Paul Phipps and William Leith went out looking over the fields. What we believe now was a sighting to try and find a suitable venue to drop the drugs off from the plane.
But so far, all customs had was talk. They needed more concrete proof of what the gang were planning. The already intensive surveillance was about to step up a gear.
Surveillance was carried out by aeroplane from Bournemouth Airport, and in fact what we had was an officer in a plane shadowing the light aircraft that the smuggling gang had hired.
The plane drops down to what we think is about 100 foot off the ground, and then pulls up sharply and heads away again. And that was what we believe was a dummy run for their intended drugs drop.
When you're conducting these operations, there's always the right time to actually knock something, to actually take it further. And the team here made a decision that they actually had enough material.
But the officers in the UK were beaten to it when the pilot Leith was caught red-handed with the drugs before he'd even left the ground.
And he was actually arrested in Belgium with 63 kilos of cannabis in a light aircraft, which really confirmed our suspicions that they were intending to bring in drugs in a private aircraft.
The smugglers' plan had collapsed, and worse still, they were about to be arrested. Phipps and Little were taken out together, caught carrying a holdall and a box containing £400,000 in cash. Fisher tried to hide but was tracked using his mobile phone and arrested in a pub. They were all found guilty at trial. Little was given community service, but as the organisers, Fisher received 7 years and Phipps 5 years. It all came as a big surprise to the gang who were oblivious to the surveillance operation that snared them.
I was surprised that they were surprised. Certainly when we saw the defendants in court and they were watching the evidence that we'd collated, yeah, I would definitely say that they were surprised. I think testament to the quality of the surveillance officers that we have.
In Bristol, a plane from Banjul has just touched down. Officers are on the ground hoping to catch any drug smugglers, notorious on this flight.
Banjul is a flight for us, really, which is produced for cocaine as well as a couple of cannabis seizures have been taken from it. Anything which doesn't look familiar or looks out of the ordinary, it could be anything, just pull it off and pull over the passengers and see what's in the bags.
The X-ray can identify drugs, tobacco and foodstuffs. But to find out exactly which, passengers need to be searched.
Shows the round shows it was organic. Yeah. Another one there. We've got 3 bags so far.
The X-ray has identified 3 suspicious bags. But while the team wait to apprehend the passengers, a man with a small bag and a new suit tries to make a quick exit.
It's too swab. Just stopped the gentleman. He's claimed he's been out there trying to do some business for a couple of weeks. Looks like he's got a false bottom on his suitcase. That was it.
The passenger's bag has been glued. Inside is an unusual object that Russ suspects may have been put there deliberately.
I mean, it might just be some sort of strengthener, but I think it's possible it's a strengthener. What's that there? Got about 3 or 4 compartments, this suitcase. Between the linings, it just looked like there was a bit tacky and a bit of glue along one little rim. It's quite well done. It looked intact for most of it, but it's just a little layer of glue. I've sort of pulled it back and opened it up in the middle, and there's a package within that. I'm suspecting there's probably other packages within the other bits as well, but I can't see what's in it at the moment. It's just a plastic package, but it's clearly something suspicious, so we need to just arrest him and take it further from there.
Have you scanned it?
The passenger is arrested, while Russ tries to determine what's in the suspicious bag.
Just test it first and see what we get around there.
What around? Do you want me to actually...
In fact, it's glued as well. Just...
There?
What do you think it is, Rex?
Could be anything.
Just something on there, right, okay. Oh, it's pretty high.
The package within the bag is come up with quite a high positive trace for cocaine. It's possible there might be some other packages within that bag. But I'm going to need to put in a call to our investigation team to see what they want to do with it from this point.
Targeting the flight from Banjul has paid off, which is more than can be said for this man's attempt to smuggle cocaine, and his ordeal is far from over. In Cornwall, Customs Ship's searcher is on patrol. Skipper Colin gets a call about a Polish ship heading into Falmouth with a container of explosives being returned from North Africa.
How much are we talking about here? A 20-foot container? Right, yeah, okay, we'll definitely be there, mate. No
It's
problem.
a race to beat the vessel into port, just in case there are any smugglers amongst the crew.
Yeah, we want to be there when it arrives, because that's sort of... They're either going to offload stuff very quickly and get it off as soon as they arrive, probably to shore crews or shore parties, or the other way of doing it is to take stuff off just before they leave, so they keep it in deep stowage, deep hidden concealment, and then just bring it out at the last minute and get it ashore then. But the quick snatch and throw it over the side as soon as they arrive is quite a favourite one still. So if there is anything on there, we want to be there waiting for them.
The Polish ship arrives in Falmouth to be greeted by customs officers who want to know why the explosives, originally destined for Libya, are now being discharged in the UK.
And there it is. It's our...
The suspiciously poor paperwork shows no name, but it turns out to be a legitimate cargo, which was rejected in Egypt and is being returned to Holland over land.
What my team are going to do, they're going to have a quick look around the boat, a quick search.
The mystery of the container has been solved, but the officers also want to rummage the entire ship for illegal cigarettes.
The age of it, there's probably going to be a few hidey holes in it as well. By the looks of it, they've been used before, so there's a fair chance that they might have stockpiled a few cigarettes for usage in their time in UK waters. So hopefully we'll find those.
Back in Bristol, the examination of the man with a bag of cocaine continues. The bag is X-rayed, and it looks like there's more than they thought.
It's good when all this stuff we have works.
Could be 3 kilos or more.
Good job, Russ. But I did say I wanted that one.
It's a serious haul of a Class A drug. And before Russ can transport the arrested man into custody, he'll have to be strip-searched.
The only behavioural indicator that I spotted was him fiddling around in his pockets a lot. He is nervous. Yeah.
You go from top to bottom? From bottom to top?
I normally get to do the bottom first. Unconscious, we have been authorised to conduct a strip search of you because of what you're carrying in your briefcase.
Not all smugglers act the same, but this man appears unconcerned by the seriousness of the crime.
Okay, if you can remove your jacket and your belt to start with, please. I was just saying, actually, it's amazing how cool he is. To get what he could be possibly getting at the end of this, it's amazing how he's so cool. I mean, he hasn't even raised his voice or anything. He looks really cool. It's amazing, to be honest. You don't know, really. You don't know what they're feeling inside. If you was to put your hand by his chest, it may be a different story. But from the outside, he looks as cool as a cucumber.
The officers also search the rest of his bags and find 2 passports in other names.
Oh my God, that's got another one. Got another passport.
The gentleman's in a significant amount of trouble at the moment, yeah. And he'll be handcuffed, put in a car and taken to Weston-super-Mare Police Station. He's just sitting there very compliantly at the moment. Hopefully it'll stay that way when we take him to the police station.
It's a great result for the officers, with over 3 kilos of cocaine off the streets and 1 more smuggler heading for some serious time behind bars. Customs officers are still searching the Polish vessel for any cigarettes being smuggled into the UK to be sold on the black market.
Now, you declared 60 cigarettes? Yes, 60 cigarettes. Where are those 60 cigarettes to begin with? Put them there. That's your declaration, okay? Not a problem.
Yeah.
Do you have any more cigarettes?
I'm not sure. I have 40 more. 40 cigarettes more.
That's all?
Yeah, that's it.
Woody's finding signs that the crew aren't all as honest as they should be.
Just open. There's 100. Have you got any more cigarettes hidden? You put on the form 200. There's 300. Got any more?
No, 4 packets. I'm cabin smoke in galley smoke.
Good. Have you hidden any more cigarettes in the galley? Yes. Where have you put them?
No, sorry, very much.
It's only a small amount, but it's often a sign of bigger things to come.
A lot of the time the captain doesn't know what the crew are up to. That's why the best areas to search are usually away from where the captain might go on a day-to-day basis.
The captain wants to sail on, but searching the ship could take hours, although there's no evidence of serious smuggling so far.
We've got the initial details. I mean, potentially it was a great big terrorist problem. We had hints that it was going to Libya. We've managed to clamp it down to being a legitimate company, doing legitimate trade, which is basically what our work's all about, really. Sorting out the bad guys from the good guys. Just hang on a sec, he's shouting something. You found 10,000.
Just as they're about to give up, they find a stash of cigarettes deep in the ship's hull.
Cigarettes were found up on top of that ledge, behind some pallets. So this place here was locked. You need to go right round the back there and over the top, and there's 3 pallets there. You go behind the pallets.
Who put them here then? Whose cigarettes are they?
I don't know, your first man on board.
You done his cabin?
I've done his cabin. It's clear.
Money?
No, I didn't see it.
Oh, well, okay then, bosun. Santa Claus put them there, eh?
Santa Claus?
The bosun, we think, is the only man with the access to this area, but he's saying that everyone's got access to it, so we need to find out now who actually owns the cigarettes and who's put them up there. The situation is that we think there are more cigarettes on here. Now, there's two options. We can stay here and find them, and we are getting dirty, we are getting tired, we're getting upset. Or you can tell the crew to bring any more cigarettes to us.
But they didn't have any.
We have just found 10,000, Captain. And it's causing you a lot of problems if you don't get the owner for us and help us out by trying to find out if there are more cigarettes on here. Maybe you could have a word with the crew and tell them to find cigarettes for us, or there will be problems with the company, and there will also be problems with the fine on the vessel.
Yeah.
Okay.
It could mean a hefty fine if he doesn't cooperate. So the captain summons the crew to the mess deck and reads them the riot act, in the hope of identifying the smuggler. No one owned up, and as the cigarettes were so well hidden, the officers decide not to fine the captain or the company.
We came aboard this ship for the explosives, but also to search it in case there's any more explosives, firearms. So we didn't actually expect to find any cigarettes. But there you go. It's just one of these things, you know. You don't expect to find things, but it's a lot like this job. If you don't look, you don't find.
This smuggler's plan has failed, and the 10,000 cigarettes will now be destroyed. The cocaine smuggler in Bristol pleaded guilty and was sentenced to 9 years in prison. It turns out he's also wanted in Italy for a string of other drug-related offences. Coming up.
Hello there.
Customs officers pay a visit to an illegal cigarette dealer.
Right, basically, we've had information that you may be selling cigarettes from the premises. Okay, I'd like to just pop in and have a chat with you about it, if that's all right. Yeah. Okay.
In Portsmouth, a suspect gets angry when his new car is dismantled. And officers find a suspicious substance in a suitcase in Gatwick.
There it is. So, good result. Let's go, Nick.
It's early morning rush hour, with dozens of flights arriving into Gatwick from Africa and the Caribbean, source areas for Class A drugs. Customs officers are on high alert, searching passengers who fit profiles associated with smugglers.
Okay, I've just x-rayed a passenger's bag and you can see there's clearly two rectangular shapes there, so I'm just going to cut the bag open and have a further inspection of what those shapes are.
The passenger told immigration he has no money, will be staying in Britain for 2 months, and a friend has agreed to pay all his expenses. It's a story Mike has heard many times before from drug couriers.
You can smell it already, can't you? Smells nice.
It's well concealed, but Mike thinks he's found a large quantity of cocaine built into the case.
There it is. There's a white paste in there.
The paste tests positive for cocaine.
So, good result.
Let's go, Nick.
10:55, yeah? So I've conducted a test on the bottom of your suitcase, which has shown a white paste. A white paste.
Yes.
Yep, I've conducted a test on it which says it's cocaine. Therefore the time is 10:55. I'm placing you under arrest on the suspicion of being involved in the importation of a controlled drug. Okay, if you could follow this officer, please. Okay. Sorry? Right, well that's all going to be discussed with you later. I will remind you that everything you say will be noted down now, okay?
The attempted importation has failed.
Sit on that seat there for me, please.
And it was a long way from being the perfect crime.
He's got a really duff invitation letter. The grammar of it was awful. There was capital letters mid-sentence. It wasn't very good at all. There was also a signature on the bottom of the invitation letter, and the writing was very, very similar, so I assume that it was written by him himself.
It's a serious crime carrying a maximum of 15 years.
Underpants down. Okay, up.
The officers want to find out if anyone else is involved, and the investigations could take some time.
Yeah, so that, we've just nicked someone, so there's a good chance I'll be late.
The man initially observes his right to silence, but he soon starts giving information about possible accomplices.
Okay, what is the name of the person that's meeting you here today? Okay, and what does he look like? Right. Okay, how tall or small? About 5'10". Long hair, short hair? Bald head. Like mine? Yeah. Okay.
Mike decides to put out an announcement for the man to come to the information desk to see if they can catch him too.
About 34.
Bald head.
Bald head.
About 5'10".
About 5'10".
If he's involved, it's unlikely he'll fall for the trap, but it's worth a try. In Portsmouth, officers are hunting a possible target vehicle picked out by the intelligence hub.
Unfortunately, it's a bit difficult to actually say whether it's going to be cocaine or heroin or cannabis. What tends to flag more than a specific type of commodity is criminality or suspicion. And from that, you tend to get a job that will fall into one of those categories. It could be, particularly at this time of year with stuff coming up from Africa, it could be anything as bizarre as tortoises.
Drug smugglers are adept at seeming normal, so it's Richard's job to hunt for the incriminating details.
You mentioned about the car, so can you tell me what the situation is with the car, please?
I'm not sure.
Right.
I might keep the car here and I might take it back, I don't know.
So you bought it when you were in Libya?
Yes, I did.
It's your own car. Okay, how long have you been, where do you normally live, please? In England. So how long have you been away for?
2 weeks.
2 months. And that's your return ticket there, is it? Can I just have a quick look at that, please?
No, this is a one-way ticket.
Yeah. No, this is the ticket you obviously got for this trip.
Yeah.
Okay, when did you book the ticket, the trip, return trip back? How long ago did you book it? Did you book it when you got to Le Havre today?
I did, yes.
Okay, and what's been the purpose of your 2 months away?
I went for Ramadan month.
Yes.
The fast month to Libya.
Okay.
And then I waited for the car and basically I waited for the car to be ready, then I came in the car.
The long trip and one-way ticket are both reasons to investigate further. And the suspiciously clean interior also makes Richard think the car may have something to hide.
In Tripoli, you flew over there. Let's walk the car. It's not a new car, second-hand car, admittedly bought from a dealer, he says.
It's a second-hand car?
That's what he says.
It's got the shrink wrap on it.
And that's what he says. He said it's not a brand new car, but he said he has bought it from a dealer. So I think it's worth it because he's just pushed the car in Tripoli, which is not the thing that we normally get here, is it? So I think it's worth looking at.
Richard must now tell the man his new car is going to be searched in the specialist rummage bay.
We've got a ramp here, we're going to put on the ramp just so we can look over it a bit more thoroughly than we could do here. We have a waiting room that you can sit in there if you wish to keep warm.
Yeah.
Just to let you know what the situation is.
Okay.
We'll obviously deal with
How long
this.
is this going to take?
Hopefully, as soon as we can. It's not going to take a long time.
Can I just put my clothes
Absolutely.
back in first?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And,
so, do you want me to take the car out while I do this, or...?
No, you put
The driver could be annoyed because he has something to hide, but perhaps he's just nervous about having his new car pulled apart. The smuggler caught in Gatwick is now being transferred to the custody cells, where the reality is beginning to sink in.
You just stand in front of that desk for me.
Is there anybody that you want telling, a friend or family that may be meeting you or worried where you are?
I would like to call, I would like to let my wife know.
The man is locked up, while the officers out back work out how much he'll be charged with trying to smuggle.
As you saw on the X-ray, there was 2 of these. From what we've got here, we've estimated that the total amount of cocaine could be 2 kilos, which has a street value of about £100,000.
And in the terminal, the person meeting him has answered the announcement and has been arrested. The poorly planned crime has gone wrong on every level.
Could you handcuff Barry?
We've gone to the information desk in the North Terminal, where we've put out a call for the person meeting the courier today, and a gentleman has come forward and said that he was here to meet him. We've subsequently arrested him, and he's been brought here today to the custody suite. And also the driver of the vehicle that was also here to meet him, he's also been brought here, the taxi driver.
All three are under arrest and placed in cells for questioning. It's now up to the investigation team to find out who was responsible and ensure a successful prosecution. It's another important seizure, but with all the suspects claiming to know nothing about the cocaine, it could take some time to work out who's guilty. After a long wait for a technical officer to arrive, the driver of the suspect Libyan vehicle is getting annoyed.
Looking through the car.
Yeah, can you just give me an idea how long it's going to take, please?
But I really can't give you
15 minutes, half an hour, 2 hours, what? I mean,
I would suggest, if we don't find anything, probably half an hour, 45 minutes if we don't find anything.
The car is suspiciously clean, having just driven 2,000 miles from Africa.
This is the problem with the vehicle, it looks too clean. The inside's totally clean.
They need to examine every possible space to ensure it's not being used for smuggling.
And we're trying to be as reasonable with you and as polite as we can.
I'll tell you what, the Brits coming in and out of Libya,
yes,
but not a single person gets these treatment.
And hopefully I'll try to explain to you as reasonable as I can as to why we're doing it for. We will look after the car.
The officers are expert mechanics, but this man is clearly very protective of his new car.
Do I look like a drug dealer? Do I? Hey?
I'm not a good enough person to really recognise a drug dealer straight away.
You've been doing the job long enough. I mean, surely you should know, shouldn't you?
Not everyone that smuggles is obvious to us.
The whole search takes nearly 2 hours and finds nothing. And the long wait has allowed the angry driver to calm down.
Your car has been looked at. They haven't reduced it to component nuts and bolts or anything like
They haven't, have they? Honestly, please assure me
honestly,
they
haven't. So you'll have the car back in a couple of minutes and then put your bags in and we'll let you out the back gates.
Okay,
You'll be
mate.
away on your way.
All right.
Okay, thanks for your...
I'm sorry if I was a bit abrasive, just
Don't worry, part of the daily grind that we have to put. Nobody likes the car being put on the rack.
You ever wrecked my car, have you?
You are more than welcome to obviously check it over. That was there before we got here though.
It's not so much the delay, it's just the actual... I have no idea what has been taken out of the car and what has been put back in the car. I don't know. It's quite upsetting.
Still to come. In Bristol, the usual officers have been joined by the National Strike Force to carry out house searches on people suspected of dealing illegal cigarettes. All the intelligence has come from anonymous tip-offs on the Customs confidential hotline.
I've got, I think it's 19 packages from Tobacco NIU, hopefully to execute today.
For officers entering suspects' homes, it can be dangerous.
I've been in a situation before where the whole street is sort of come out and had to go, and you don't want to hang around.
No, once you're on the ground. If you don't like it, you're out. So.
It may seem heavy-handed for selling a few cigarettes, but the black market costs the Treasury £2 billion a year.
We're going to this lady in Bristol. Information's been received that she could be selling cigarettes at her home address. Started selling cigarettes in the past 2 weeks and have been dealing Lambert and Butler.
But you've also got to be very mindful with this that a lot of this could be malicious as well, so it could just be a stitch-up.
Many tip-offs are found to be false, so the officers initially go in without a warrant. And that means negotiating permission to search the house.
Hello there, this is Hello, I'm from Revenue and Customs. Right, basically we've had information that you may be selling cigarettes from the premises, okay? I'd like to just pop in and have a chat with you about it, if that's alright?
Yeah.
Okay.
Really what we simple, I pop us all of that. I'm in trouble.
Luckily, the woman confesses and lets them in.
Basically, what have you been doing? Your son's brought cigarettes back from holiday. You've been basically selling cigarettes.
And all the evidence the officers need is sitting on the dining room table.
We need to do a search of that house, if that's okay.
Yeah, there's a few in the front there, which is around, and that's all it is.
Right, okay.
Do you that made me feel like a terrible thief. I feel like a terrible thief. And she's obviously a bit nervous. She knows that she's done something wrong. She's got a kitty set up downstairs with all her facts. There's a big suitcase here that shows that somebody travelled to Palma in Spain on the 9th of October. Whether that was her or her son. hands on. It's a very big case, very typical of a cigarette smuggler's case. Is that your big suitcase up there, the big half-sided one in the spare room?
Oh, we all use it, you know.
Right.
You
All
are
right.
committing an offence by selling these cigarettes, okay? So the goods will be seized from you.
And with perfect timing, a customer turns up to find the shop closed indefinitely.
And the guy just come to the premises and looked at his shop.
Oh, right. What, somebody's just come and gone? Looks like we've just had a buyer that's just...
The black market is clearly booming in Bristol. In Gatwick, the Customs Intelligence Hub has given officers information that a drug swallower is coming in from the Caribbean. A girl being questioned at immigration seems suspicious enough for Customs to do a drug swab, which gives a massive hit for cocaine.
3452.
Morning, madam.
Drug swallowers are often forced into the crime and told nothing of the dangers and the possible lethal consequences of a burst package.
She said that she actually came in with someone named Peter. She met him on the beach and he's got all her money, £400, and he's already gone through. So it doesn't look too good, you know.
The suspect has denied taking cocaine, so a positive urine test would suggest she has swallowed drugs.
There's no line by the THC, so she's positive for cannabis. There's no line by the COC, so she's positive for cocaine as well, which would indicate to us that she has cocaine in her system.
The woman will now be arrested and x-rayed for packages.
Showing up positive for cocaine.
Yeah, okay.
But to the officer's frustration, she's now claiming to have used drugs.
Momento,
just for part, and I have taken cocaine.
She has taken it. Right, okay.
She had taken, yeah?
She has taken it.
Why didn't she tell me earlier when I put you?
She was worried.
She was worried. Okay.
But the officers aren't convinced.
So
we just want to be sure you haven't got any internal concealment in it.
They suspect she may be pregnant, and so will be taken to a private hospital to have her body scanned safely. That means waiting for another interpreter, and that means putting on the white suit.
Because we've got her on suspicion of swallowing, we always put them in a white suit, because what we'd be concerned of, if she maybe started to pass packages in the cell, whether she may pick them up and harm to herself. Sometimes it might be possible that she could retry and swallow them again. We can see through the suit, that's why we need her in the white suit.
The officers are extremely concerned for the woman's health, and all the signs are pointing to a definite swallower. If so, she'd be looking at a lengthy sentence.
It's a bit concerning because with her original story, when we asked her, she doesn't touch drugs, she doesn't drink. It's then, oh, well, I smoke marijuana, I have taken cocaine. So her story is continually changing. When we take her down, I really wouldn't be surprised if we didn't see packages in her body from the way her story is.
It's a nervous ride to the hospital, which could decide the woman's future. Customs officers also stop smugglers who try to bring in drugs using the postal system. In October 2002, a routine parcel exam uncovered a massive haul of drugs hidden in a shipment of doors.
And I recall getting a phone call at home that there'd been a major seizure. Within it, they found holdalls. And examining the holdalls, they found packages which turned out to be a mixture of Class A and B drugs. And I can recall getting a phone call about 2 hours after that to advise me that they had found something else.
In the box were live ammunition rounds and something altogether more frightening.
They came across another box, and you can imagine their surprise when they opened it to find a grenade. And I think everyone stepped back about half a mile.
The decision was made to do a controlled delivery and catch the culprits in the act. But all they had to go on was the consignment address in Devon and a phone number which belonged to Timothy Andrews.
One individual in particular, Timothy Andrews, we conducted surveillance on him over that weekend.
Officers tailed Andrews round the clock for 3 days. Mobile phone analysis identified Andrews' partner in crime, Andrew Griffiths. The race was now on to get the package delivered on time. The team replaced all the drugs and ammunition with props and prepared to make the delivery.
The controlled delivery commenced on the Monday morning. One of our officers acted as the T&T delivery driver. He drove it down to the address, the consignment address in Ivybridge. But within the actual consignment, we had placed an audio device, in fact, a number of audio devices.
The officers were hiding, waiting for the right time to strike.
When it became clear that the package was being broken into and been dismantled, I decided at that point that I would call the knock.
50 armed officers stormed the building and found 2 henchmen. Andrews and Griffiths were elsewhere, but were still being followed and were arrested. They would plead not guilty. But customs investigators used mobile phone cell tracking information to tie them to the crime scene.
On this occasion and on 4 previous occasions where consignments had gone to that address, that they had been in the vicinity. And that's more than coincidence.
The evidence convinced the jury it was Andrews and Griffiths behind the crime. The henchmen were acquitted, and the sentences handed down to the smugglers made a happy ending for the officers.
Sentences handed down by trial judge, resulted in a 40-year sentence for Griffiths and a 39-year sentence for Andrews. But they will be serving at least 15 years.
Back in Bristol, Russ and Jane haven't found any more cigarettes and decide not to prosecute the woman. Instead, they want her to turn informant.
But do you think we can try and get some details about her son? His name? I think we've got to if we can.
Young lad, where's he picking these up for?
No, I'm not getting you into trouble.
Right, you don't want to tell us anything about him then?
Trouble, no.
If you pass on a little message to him, he is in danger of not only losing his cigarettes but losing his vehicle, etc. So it could be quite hefty for him. So.
Seizing the 9,000 cigarettes, they now want to get out before it turns ugly.
We don't really have the public on our side because the locals think she's providing a service, so people aren't sympathetic to us. So sometimes once people have clocked who we are, it's better to just get the fags and get out, isn't it?
In Gatwick, the suspected swallower is back with the X-rays. She's put back in the cell while the officers take a look at the results.
If she had swallowed something, you would possibly see the shapes of packages. They'd be down here, they can be collected up around here, and there's nothing at all.
Compared to an actual swallower, the difference is clear.
See the package shapes collected down there, whereas that one is totally no shapes whatsoever in that one. It was negative.
It's an anticlimax for the officers, but they're glad she'll be okay.
Take her back up to the south terminal if she wants to, so she could be on her way. Yeah, it's negative. All the way down the line to me, I was thinking, yeah, it's going to be positive. The way she was acting and the things she was saying, but sometimes it happens like that, you know.
6 months later, the Gatwick cocaine smugglers pleaded guilty and were sentenced to 6.5 years in prison. The taxi driver was released without charge. In our ports and in our airports, the UK Border Agency is fighting a constant battle against smugglers.
I'm arresting you. Oh, dear me.
Coming up, after many years on the front line, nothing surprises Officer Fitz.
What is it you actually do?
I am a butcher, cut the chicken.
In Bristol, Officer Joe has become wise to the game.
They may be telling the truth. I suspect not.
And at Gatwick, Officer Chris uncovers a fortune.
How much money are you carrying today? 80,000? Yeah.
At Gatwick Airport, an incoming flight from Madrid has put UK Border Agency officers on high alert.
Obviously, we do tend to get connectors coming in from South America, So basically that's the reason why we're using a dog for this, just to see if anything comes up.
The flight from Madrid is a known transit route for drug smugglers, so officers are carefully watching for any suspicious behaviour. One passenger who originally started his journey in Bolivia is of particular interest.
Yeah, it just seems a bit of an odd routing. He does seem quite nervous.
In the customs channels, sniffer dog Barney gets a chance to assess the passenger. But with no indication given, Officer Fitz takes him aside for further questioning.
Hello, sir. Hi. Where are you arriving from today?
Sorry?
Where are you arriving from today?
I came in. I left Bolivia after Argentina, Madrid, and I came in now here.
Right. Just want to come to one of the benches, just have a quick word. Okay. Are you aware that there are certain items you cannot bring into the UK?
No.
Yeah?
These things,
Such
no.
as drugs?
No.
Okay.
But
Firearms? Yeah,
No.
I just need to answer the questions first, okay? Okay. There's certain things you can't bring into the UK, such as drugs, firearms, and obscene material involving minors. Do you have any of those items in you at all? Okay, then. Okay, if you leave that open, that's fine. We'll have a look at that.
With communication difficult, Fitz proceeds with searching the nervous man's suitcase.
Monopoly fan?
After a quick rummage, an unwelcome visitor rears its head.
Yeah. Something crawling in there. Looks like you picked up a visitor. Oh. Well, I'm quite glad you did that, not me. You picked up a traveller.
Yeah.
Right, you said you work, yes? What is it you actually do?
I am a butcher, cut the chicken.
Oh, you're a butcher?
After searching the suitcase, Fitz is alarmed to find a passport that doesn't belong to the man.
Okay, who is this?
This is for my sister-in-law living in London.
Why have you got her passport?
The daughter, the Vivian, is my sister-in-law. Sent this for give the mother because the mother and bring the daughter. You understand that?
Right. Okay.
But the communication barrier may still be a problem. Fitz remains suspicious of the man's story and his nervous behaviour. At Bristol Airport, a flight has just landed from Tenerife. Officers are x-raying the luggage coming off the flight, and straight away they found some bags which are stuffed with cigarettes.
These all full?
Yeah, I've put that. These all the same name, right?
These are all the same name.
Right.
At the moment it appears like we've got 3 bags full of cigarettes under the same name, so it looks like it could be a commercial amount, but we'll see.
Having identified 3 bags, they're put back on the luggage carousel. Officers head inside to see who will collect them. The bags have been checked in under one name, but 3 separate passengers picked them up. As anticipated, they walk straight through the Nothing to Declare channel, where Officer Joe is waiting to meet them.
All 3 of you, do you want to come over? And where have you arrived from today? You're all aware there are prohibitions and restrictions on entering the UK? Certain things you can't bring into the UK, such as controlled drugs, indecent and obscene material, firearms, explosives, things like that? You aware of those things?
Yeah.
Okay. You aware the Canary Islands is outside the European Union, so there's certain restrictions around to cigarettes, alcohol and tobacco you can bring through. You aware of that? No. Okay. Okay, do you have any cigarettes, alcohol, tobacco with you today?
Yeah.
Yeah, how much do you have?
42 sleeves.
42 sleeves each. Okay.
All 3 passengers are massively over their allowance.
Right, the allowance is 1 of these each. Okay?
Hey?
That's the allowance, 1 of these each.
Why is it one sleeve?
Why is it? Because Canary Islands is outside the European Union. So you're only allowed 200 cigarettes each or 250 grams of tobacco.
Well, I never knew that one. I thought it was, no?
That's why they're so cheap over there, because you haven't paid duty on the goods.
That's why I bought already. I didn't realise. I thought probably at that price.
But ignorance is no excuse. Travellers are required to know their allowances. Joe will have to unpack all 3 bags to find out just how big the haul is. In Gatwick, Officer Fitz is deciding what to do with the nervous Bolivian passenger who's been found carrying someone else's passport.
He says he's bringing his sister-in-law's daughter's passport over because obviously she wants her daughter here. That's the reason why he's brought the passport over, to get a visa.
The suspicious passport is taken to immigration to be checked. Meanwhile, the passenger is led away to be searched.
We have a lot of problems with drugs coming into the country, especially from South America.
I have problems.
No. I'm not saying that you have any problems. What I'm saying is there are...
I know.
You understand that? Yeah. We have problems with drugs coming into the country. Now, to satisfy myself that you have nothing on you at all, what I want to do is a search of person, which is basically a rub-down search of your body.
Whilst Fitz conducts a search of the passenger, his colleague Tony returns from immigration with the suspicious passport.
I've been down to the what they call the primary control point, which is the passport control, and I've spoken to the chief immigration officer down there and the forgery officer. They're satisfied that the child's passport is genuine, but they say there's no way that the passport would be brought here for a visa to be issued. They wouldn't issue a visa like that. It's also got a refusal for a visa stamp in the back from another country. So they're going to come up and have a word with the gentleman and quite possibly hang on to the passport.
Nothing is found during the search of the passenger, so officers swab test his shoes.
See what happens again.
If he's carrying packages internally, traces of drugs could be found in the sweat from his feet. And a high reading for cocaine makes officers suspect that he could be a swallower.
What we've done is, we've done a swab on your shoes. A substance has been detected of cocaine. All right? So, the time is 17:55, and I'm arresting you on suspicion of being involved in the importation of a controlled drug internally.
The man is led away for a full-body X-ray.
What I need you to do is take a deep breath in, then out, then breathe in again, and then when we'll tell you to breathe out, that's when it'll start rolling, all right? Okay. Okay, to the end. Stand to the end. Breathe out. That's it.
But it quickly becomes apparent that he hasn't swallowed any drugs.
Negative. Yeah, okay. That's fine.
Clear. Cool, thank you.
Right. Okay, all done.
With the X-ray clear, the traces for cocaine are put down to contamination, and the man is free to leave. The passport he was carrying on behalf of his sister-in-law was seized and handed over to the Bolivian embassy. Back at Bristol, Officer Joe is still unpacking the masses of cigarettes which have been brought back into the UK illegally from Tenerife.
Did you plan to buy these cigarettes?
Not right there.
Not there. But when we got there and realised what the price was like, yeah.
So you didn't plan to buy them?
Oh, no.
Joe spots something on the woman's luggage tag which makes him doubt their story further.
Who's Mrs. A friend?
Yeah.
So all the bags are under the name of Mrs. So who's Mrs.
This is my bag. My name is on that bag.
It was checked in under the name of Mrs.
I'm sorry, but that's my
You
bag.
don't. So you do know Mrs.
Yeah, but we don't know her. I didn't know her name.
Yeah.
The 3 bags, all being checked in under someone else's name, makes Joe suspect the cigarettes were never intended for personal use.
The fact that they're all under the same name makes me think that this Mrs. has paid for these people to go to Canary Islands to bring back these cigarettes for her, so they're just basically carrying it for her, I would imagine. Sign here, just to say these goods have been seized from you today, okay? Just get a signature there, please.
With duty in the region of £40 for each sleeve of 200 cigarettes, the 3 passengers almost cost the UK tax system £5,000. Once the paperwork is complete, the passengers are free to leave without their cigarettes. They're given a warning and next time may face prosecution.
Okay, thanks for your time. I don't know. They may be telling the truth. I suspect not.
The cigarettes are bagged up, ready to be destroyed. Coming up, sniffer dog Diesel, one of Gatwick's longest-serving canines, is put to the test.
Basically, I've opened up the unit now and you can just see there's packages here and here.
Coming up, suspicions are raised about a travelling Chelsea fan.
He's got no idea where the stadium is, he's got no ticket, it would appear. He's got no idea who Chelsea are playing.
At Gatwick Airport, the UK border agency isn't just preventing passengers from bringing illegal drugs into the country. Thousands of tons of freight passes through the airport every year, and officers work in tandem with sniffer dogs to check packages for illegal substances. Today, Officer Lorna and sniffer dog Diesel have arrived at the cargo hangar to assess a small part of today's consignment.
We're just over at the freight sheds and we're going to cover the freight that's just come off of the Virgin Bridgetown flight. So we'll see what he does. These. Looking for any interest from the dog really, and then one of the anti-smugglers will have a look and see if there's any cocaine or heroin.
As one of the airport's longest-serving dogs, Diesel has sniffed out dozens of Class A drug seizures over the years, making him one of the officer's most valuable assets. And it doesn't take long for him to start showing some interest around one of the packages. The box contains a vacuum cleaner, so officers remove it from its packaging to take a closer look. And Diesel just can't keep away from it. With a suspected drug concealment, there's only one way to find out what's inside.
It looks like two of the screws had glue put on them, so it makes it harder to get inside. As you see, he's nearly getting into it now. He's just dismantling the whole thing, so we'll just see what he can find.
Here's TV. Underneath here, some packages. Oh yeah, black taped packages.
Basically, I've opened up the unit now and you can just see there's packages here and here. So what we're going to do is get the dog over, have another look at it and see if the dog indicates.
And almost instantly, Diesel makes another of his trademark indications on the packages inside the vacuum cleaner.
As you saw, as the dog got close to the scent, it gave a freeze stare indication. Basically, it just freezes at the scent and won't move until the handler throws in a tennis ball, and basically that was a perfect indication. And as you see, the packages are coming out, and they're only small and they look properly tight wrapped. That's why he had to get his nose right on the source of the scent.
All right, what we'll do when we find things like this, we'll do what we call a field test. So I'm going to put some of the powder onto this filter paper, just put this liquid onto it. If it's cocaine, it will just flash up like a very turquoise aquamarine blue. Usually takes less than half a second to a second to do that. See, it's going this turquoise colour straight away. That basically indicates the presence of cocaine on the powder.
It's another impressive find by Diesel. Thanks to his sensitive nose, cocaine worth more than £8,000 will not reach the UK streets. Across at Gatwick's North Terminal, it's business as usual. A flight has just arrived from Dubai, and border agency officers are processing passengers passing through immigration. One passenger from Cameroon has caught the attention of officers after he claimed he'd come to the UK to watch a football match.
These are customs red and green channels. If you've got anything to declare to customs, you need to use the red channel. If you've got any cigarettes, any alcohol, anything like that. If you're not sure, go into the red channel. If you're quite happy you've got nothing like that, you can come to the green channel with me.
I just have my money.
Okay, how much money are you carrying today?
80,000.
80,000?
Yeah.
Is that what currency is that in? Is that in dollars, sterling? Dollars. All right, we'll have a chat about that. Come this way.
It's a huge amount of cash for one passenger to be carrying. The man has a lot of questions to answer about exactly what he's doing here, so Officer Chris pulls him aside in the customs channels.
Are all the bags yours? Are all the bags yours?
Yes,
yeah.
3 bags are mine.
Okay. Did you pack all the bags yourself? Yeah. Can anything in your bags for anyone else? Is anyone giving you gifts or goods to carry for them into this country?
Nothing.
No, okay. And as well as the cigarettes...
Very simply, he's Cameroonian, but he's also got residency in Thailand. So he's coming here allegedly to see Chelsea play. He's got no idea where the stadium is. He's got no ticket, it would appear. He's got no idea which hotel he's stopping in. He's got no idea who Chelsea are playing.
So what sort of things are you going to do whilst you're here then?
Yeah, know something?
Yeah. Yeah, please, Tony, that one. Just...
Officer Tony steps in to help with the investigation.
My friend is just using a little swabbing device. It just checks if you come into contact with anything like, you know, drugs we spoke about earlier. It's just like a little sniffer dog.
And a small trace reading for cocaine deepens the intrigue.
It shows traces, but it's not hitting the red zone, but it's still a significant link, so it's up to Chris how he wants to play it.
Whilst going through the man's belongings, Chris has made an unusual discovery.
Let's check. I'll have a look at some of these for me. Seems a bit heavy.
What are they? What are they? What are they?
Hair extensions.
Just hair extensions.
Yeah.
Is that your line of business?
This is my business. I have salon. I have my own salon. Yep. And I produce this.
Right, let's pack that back up for you.
You can check those, I can check it.
You sure? Let's if you're happy, let's have a bit of time. I'll look at that bag next if you like. Thank you.
With suspicious reasons being given for the purpose of his visit, officers will need to take their search to the next level. In the South Terminal, a flight has just landed from Tripoli in Libya. As luggage is being unloaded from the flight, officers have noticed a strange odour coming from a number of suitcases. The luggage is placed back on the carousel, and as the pungent suitcases are collected, the owners are stopped for questioning in the customs channels.
Okay, is it just fish? Nothing
Yeah,
else?
fish, yeah.
Nothing else but fish, yeah?
Just food. My mom, I bring for my brothers, sisters, my
Right,
moms and
yeah, okay, but it all belongs to you, doesn't it?
Yeah, but some I'll give to them.
Well, no, you said, when I asked you the initial questions, you said these bags were yours and yours alone.
No, because I put it on my name. That's what
Yeah,
I'm saying.
no, you
because
said-
if I the
You said to me.
Yeah, because it's my name. I cannot lie to you. That's why.
From outside the EU, there's a strict allowance of 20 kilograms of fish per person. It's become apparent that the woman's travelling companions are people she's just met in the baggage hall.
The first time they come in this country, they don't speak English. So I was happy and tempted for them. I can travel with my children.
Officers suspect that the woman may have befriended the other passengers so they would unwittingly share her imported food allowance. The first suitcase is stuffed to the brim with smoked fish. So if she's carrying any more, she'll be well over her allowance.
It's just dried smoked fish. It's whether it's dried or wet fish. If you go over the 20 kilos allowance, it's all liable to seizure.
And it doesn't look particularly appetizing. Officers open the woman's second suitcase, which is also stuffed to the brim with smoked fish. It's clear she has well exceeded her allowance.
The regulations are 20 kilos of fish. If you go over that, it's deemed as a commercial amount, and we're entitled to take the whole lot. So in this case, it was about 43 kilos of fish, just for the one passenger.
Despite being way over her allowance, the passenger is far from happy that she'll be leaving with nothing.
Only allowed 20 kilos.
20 kilos. And why don't you give me my 20 kilos?
Because if you exceed your 20 kilo allowance, we're entitled to take the whole lot from you.
Yeah, but I didn't know.
It's your responsibility as a traveller to ensure you know what your allowances are.
It's the aeroplane responsibility to learn people what to bring and how many kilos you have to bring.
It's the airline's responsibility, I'm afraid.
The 43 kilograms of fish are bagged up and ready to be destroyed. The disgruntled woman is given a warning and released. In Gatwick's North Terminal, officers are still investigating a Cameroonian passenger who's carrying over $80,000 in cash.
Tony, does that say UN security on it?
Looks like it.
The unusual find makes officers suspect that the stamp may be being used for fraudulent purposes.
In his bag, we found a stamp which says UN security code. Why would you have something like that? I think it's probably worth running it by our colleagues in Special Branch, as was called, is Counter-Terrorism Unit now. This is very odd, so they may be very interested in that. If you don't want to talk to Joe, no problem. Yep.
Officer Chris heads over to the counter-terrorism team with a suspicious stamp. Meanwhile, his colleague Tony continues his search of the passenger's belongings and investigates the large amount of money he's carrying.
He has rather a lot of cash with him. He's required, when he comes into the EU, to make a declaration for anything more than 10,000 euros. What you need to do is complete this form with the details of what you've got there. This is a leaflet that explains to you what the law is, why you have to make the declaration. Okay? But at the moment what he says he's doing is coming here to, as a tourist, but also to look for stock for his shop, because he has a hair salon back where he lives. So he's got quite a bit of cash just to fund the purchases of that as well as his stay here. So obviously, as it's more than the 10,000 euro that he has to declare, just waiting for him to do a declaration.
Whilst Chris and Tony were happy that the man's cash was for legitimate business purposes, a further investigation was launched into his dodgy UN stamp. He was taken away by the counter-terrorism unit for further questioning. After investigation, the Cameroonian traveller found with the UN stamp wasn't allowed into the UK and was deported the following day. In our ports and in our airports, the UK Border Agency is fighting a constant battle against smugglers.
I'm arresting you. Oh, dear me.
Coming up, one man is confused as to who his bag belongs to.
This is your bag? This is your only bag?
He's just picked up this bag to walk through customs.
On an inbound flight from Madrid, one passenger seems to let his nerves get the better of him.
Do you want to sit down? Because you look like you're about to fall down.
I don't know why I'm nervous.
And one repeat smuggler gets his memory jogged.
Have you ever been stopped by customs before? Yeah. Okay. So obviously you should know them by now.
It's early morning at Gatwick Airport, and a flight has just arrived from Montego Bay in Jamaica, a place known to the UK Border Agency as a hotspot for the trade of illegal drugs. Vigilant officers have been using sniffer dogs to assess luggage from the flight, and they've identified a brown suitcase which they suspect contains illegal drugs. In the immigration hall, passengers are being observed as they come off the flight. One man with a white jacket and red shirt has been seen to be acting very nervously. As he waits at the luggage carousel for his suitcase, he appears to be getting more and more anxious. He spots the brown suitcase that's suspected of containing drugs, goes to pick it up, but quickly leaves it on the belt. As the brown suitcase comes past again, the man stares at it intently and seems unsure about whether to pick it up. He later leaves with someone else's red suitcase. But as he passes through the customs channels, he's stopped to answer a few questions.
How long have you been away for? 4 weeks, yeah? What's the purpose of your trip? Did you pay for your ticket yourself? I see, right, okay. Where are you off to from here? Croydon. Okay. This is your bag? This is your only bag? Yeah?
The officer checks the luggage tag with the man's travel ticket, which prompts him to have a change of heart.
This is your bag, huh? Do you know where your bag is? Take that bag?
The man is escorted back to the baggage hall to look for his real suitcase, but it's already been found. It's the same brown suitcase he was staring at on the carousel, and which is thought to contain drugs.
Okay, right, the time is now 11:26, okay, and we're listening to suspicion being involved in the importation of controlled drugs.
He's led away to a private interview room for further questioning.
Can you take some details just of that, and then we'll get rid of that, I think. I've
sure it's got nothing to do with him.
I think it's a female's name.
Officers look inside the red suitcase to see who it might belong to.
I think he realised that people were sort of onto him possibly, and so what he's done is he's just picked up a random bag. He's taken the tags off of the bag which associates him to the other bag, and then he's just picked up this bag to walk through customs.
With the red suitcase on its way back to its rightful owner, officers can now concentrate on the contents of the man's real bag, which they strongly suspect contains illegal drugs. He's led away to the airport's custody suite, where the contents of his suitcase can be formally assessed. At Gatwick South Terminal, passengers have just landed from Madrid. In the immigration hall, officers are looking out for any signs of suspicious behavior. Passengers who appear nervous will be pulled over in the customs channels. Officers will then check to ensure they're not carrying anything illegal. A Brazilian passenger from the Madrid flight has been spotted sweating profusely, so officers take him aside to search his suitcase.
Basically, he came through immigration. It was the usual sort of nervous, didn't really answer immigration's questions and that lot.
And how long are you going to be in the UK?
No, I'm leaving tonight.
Okay, going back to Brazil?
Yes, back to Brazil.
And you've travelled all over Europe, is that what?
I don't understand.
On this trip,
Okay.
you've been to lots of places, yes?
Yes, Barcelona, Madrid, Istanbul, and London.
Do you want to sit down? Because you look like you're about to fall down.
No, that's okay.
You're okay. All right, so I understand from listening to you in immigration that it was a business trip.
Okay, yes, it is.
Is that right?
Yes, I was with my representatives here and in Istanbul, Barcelona, and Madrid.
Just for meetings or
Yes,
what?
meetings, and of course some tourists too, okay? I don't know why I'm nervous. It's just because it never happened to me to be so questioned like as this time. Yes.
But you attend meetings all the time, yeah, for your
Yes.
job? So you must be familiar with travelling
Yes,
and being
yes.
questioned by people?
Yes,
Yeah?
I
So
don't
why
know.
is it a problem now?
No reason for.
Okay. Calm down.
The man's anxiety leads the officer to doubt his story, so his bags will be thoroughly searched for any illicit items. Officer Fitz assists by swab testing his possessions to see if he's come into contact with any drugs. The swab is then taken for analysis using a machine that can detect even the tiniest traces.
Nothing on the iron trap.
This time, the swab test is clear, but the man's nervous behavior is still alarming. His suitcase is x-rayed to check for unlawful concealments.
It's just like, why would you be that nervous? I'm not that scary.
Was it his first time?
It's a regular traveller.
No, it's fine.
Nothing is found in his belongings, but officers want to check he's not hiding anything on his body.
Just a rub-down search. You understand?
I don't understand.
All right. I'm going to ask 2 male officers
Okay.
to take you to a private room and give you a rub-down search. Like you
Okay.
go, when you go through security and you get patted down.
No problem.
Yeah.
One way or another, they'll find out why he's so nervous.
With you, yeah?
I pack it.
At Gatwick's custody suite, the man who's been arrested on suspicion of importing a suitcase full of illegal drugs is being checked in. The brown suitcase he tried to ditch in the baggage hall is taken away to be examined.
The whole bag together was 29 kilos. Now there is some stuff in there, but I would think that there's probably approximately 20 kilos of cannabis here.
8 blocks of what looks like herbal cannabis are pulled from the man's case. It's no wonder he was keen to avoid being caught.
Sit yourself down. All right, just need to take your shoes and...
The man is held in a cell whilst the packages of drugs are weighed.
16 kilos, 16.070.
Okay.
I had to cut every one of this. It looks like it is herbal cannabis. I mean, as soon as she cut into it, there's a quite a strong pungent smell. I mean, it's actually surrounding, you know, in the whole room now. But I had to check all of them because sometimes they have mixed cocaine with cannabis.
A field test is done to confirm the substance definitely is herbal cannabis.
The positive indication should be a kind of like a reddish colour. See, there we go. That's a positive indication for herbal cannabis.
With a street value of more than £45,000, it's an excellent result for the officers. All the man can do now is await his fate. In the airport's South Terminal, the man whose nervous behaviour and profuse sweating has aroused suspicion is being taken for a body search.
Okay, if you just put your bags up onto the bench for me, yeah. Yeah, just put the bags there. And if you just want to take a seat over in the far end.
I'm very nervous. I don't know why.
Very nervous?
Yes.
Okay.
Despite his nerves, the man consents to the search.
Yeah, next one. That's great, that's fine.
Okay.
His shoes are removed so they can be swab tested for any traces of drugs.
If he's got drugs internally, then he'll sweat and it will come out. The sweat partly will be in the shoes. So if this tests positive, then he's either used or he's swallowed.
Once again, the swab is clear, but Officer Fitz has uncovered some revealing secrets.
Yeah, he did actually admit that he's actually quite nervous. I sort of like, yeah. I mean, he had quite a few pills in his little small holdall. So obviously there was one for sort of like for mare sickness, and there's like these other blue pills. So I said, "Oh, what are these?" And he's like,
The man confesses to have recently taken Viagra, which may explain his nervous behaviour.
This sort of thing hasn't happened to him before since he's been travelling for so long. So I think he's just very nervous that he's had to go through all the security appearances. So, but apart from that, he is such a nice chap. Okay, then, sir. Okay. Here's your shoes. Yep, no problem. Want to put those back on?
With all the searches now complete and the reasons for the man's anxiety exposed, he's now free to continue his onward journey.
Thank you. Okay, thank you very much.
Coming up, officers discover a massive haul of tobacco in the cargo area.
If you open up the plastic, there's quite a strong smell of tobacco. Yeah, there we go.
Coming up, a repeat smuggler plays innocent.
Have you ever been stopped by customs before? Yeah. Okay. So obviously you should know them by now, shouldn't you?
At Gatwick Airport, the UK Border Agency have a duty of care to assess all passengers and items entering the country. Each year, officers have to check thousands of tons of freight passing through the airport.
Right, here you go. This looks like the one.
Today, Officer Sarah is in the cargo holding area after being asked to check a large number of packages that have just come in from the Far East.
What we've got here is a consignment that's originated in from Hong Kong. It's marked up as clothing accessories, so we've just come over to have a closer look to see what's inside here. What we've got is what looks like large spools here, which look like there's some kind of braiding. Oh. If you open up the plastic, there's quite a strong smell of tobacco coming out of here. Yeah, it smells quite strong.
With suspicions aroused, there's only one way to find out what's inside.
Let's have a look. Yeah, there we go.
If each of the reels is filled with tobacco, it will be a concealment worth many thousands of pounds.
This consignment is marked originally from Hong Kong, where tobacco, loose tobacco, is obviously a lot cheaper than here in the UK. Duty levels are quite high, and there's a huge black market in smuggled tobacco. This consignment here is about 130 boxes.
The reels of tobacco are taken away to be weighed. Officers need to work out how much they found before investigating where it's come from.
Well, there's three reels here, 40 kilos. If you take off the cardboard and the string, it's probably about 10 kilos I'd estimate in each bale.
The unpaid duty for 10 kilos of loose tobacco is worth £1,600.
Okay, 10 kilos. It is a huge amount of effort, but considering the amount of money that these gangs are going to make, for them it's obviously worth going to this effort.
In addition to the risk of smoking, there could be additional products in this tobacco which are even worse for your health than the usual nicotine and tar.
With the haul weighing over 650 kilos, the lost revenue to the tax system would have been over £100,000. It's the biggest ever seizure of loose tobacco at Gatwick.
It's just a routine examination by the guys, and obviously very good work in picking this up.
In Gatwick's South Terminal, a flight has just landed from Tripoli in Libya. As passengers make their way through baggage reclaim, Officer Helen and sniffer dog Bran are checking passengers for the presence of drugs. A lone female passing through customs is of great interest to Bran, so she stopped for further checks by Officer Hazel.
Okay, you can come with me. Come on, bring your bags around here for me.
Almost immediately, the woman's story seems unconvincing.
So where will you stay in England? Whereabouts in Bristol? You don't know? Do you have anybody meeting you here at Gatwick? Who's meeting you?
A friend.
You just said you don't have any friends or family in England.
I don't have anything, but I just called him.
The woman's story keeps changing, which is giving Hazel cause for concern.
I'm just going to go and speak to my colleague, OK? If you stay here, just finish repacking your bag. Can I have a search on this girl, please? When I asked her if she had friends or family in England, first of all, she said no. And then she said that she'd called somebody here and that they were going to meet her at the airport. She's got £900. She's really nervous, but she hasn't got a proper address.
Coupled with the sniffer dog indication, Hazel is convinced there's more to the woman than meets the eye.
She's so nervous. She's only got £900, so I'm going to get her... Well, I'm going to do the search of person and see if she's got anything. Right, OK. Because the dog was sniffing at you, he's a drug detector dog. So I need to make sure that you're not carrying any drugs on you or in you, OK? All right, myself and my colleague are going to do a search of your person, OK? It has been authorised by your senior colleague. All right, do your bag up first of all. OK, if you bring your bag and follow me. Go into the room for me. Just go in, take a seat. OK, can you just check that there's nothing on the floor? Nothing's been left in here, has it? Well, I just need you to sign there to say that you're OK to be searched.
The officers find nothing during the search, but due to the dog indication, Hazel decides to do one more test.
OK, we have a machine here that x-rays you to make sure that you've not got anything inside of you, OK? The machine's just in the hall there, so it won't take very long at all.
If the woman is smuggling drugs internally, officers will know in a matter of minutes. It's the middle of the afternoon, and a flight has just come in from Moldova. Being outside the European Union, passengers have a strict cigarette allowance of just 200. In the baggage reclaim area, officers are closely monitoring a Moldovan passenger who has a prior history for smuggling cigarettes. As he heads through the green customs channel, Officer Fitz pulls him over for further questioning.
Hi, sir.
Hello.
Hi, where are you from today?
Just now.
Travelling on your own?
Sorry?
Travelling on your own? Are you travelling on your own?
Yes.
Yes, OK. Come here for a minute. How long have you been away for?
1 month.
1 month? And what was your purpose of your visit? Holiday?
No holiday.
Just holiday?
No holiday.
Right.
I live here and come back to my country.
Right. So you've been away on holiday? Right. Are you aware of your customs allowances? 1 carton of cigarettes, litre of spirits, and goods up to £390 worth. Yeah? And none of those items at all. Okay. Well, I'll have a look in there. It's all right. I'll have a look. All right. I'll move this over here.
With the man's previous history for smuggling cigarettes, Fitz knows not to take him at his word. And straight away, he finds a 200 pack of cigarettes. If the passenger's carrying any more, he'll have breached his allowance. A little deeper in the case, Fitz stumbles across a brown chocolate box, which is clearly being used to hide packs of cigarettes. As the box is opened, individual packs of cigarettes are found concealed within drawers. The man is way over his allowance, and he knows it.
Just for yourself. Why you put them in here for? Why have you put them in here? Basically, you were trying to hide them, weren't you?
I just put it.
Sorry?
I just put it. Not for business.
I know they're for yourself, but you tried to hide them from me, didn't you?
I didn't know that this is a problem.
All right, and we'll just ask me this question. Have you been stopped by customs before?
Huh?
Have you ever been stopped by customs before? Yes. Yeah. Okay. So obviously you should know them by now, shouldn't you? This is a seizure notice that say that I'm seizing 800 cigarettes from you. So I need your signature there, full name and date.
Lies and deceit are a challenge faced by officers every day.
This is a warning letter. If it happens again, it might be taken further, all right?
All of the man's cigarettes are seized once again. Fitz provides him with a guidance leaflet about his customs allowances.
Right? You've got it? Oh, you've got it. So you know then, do you? All right.
With all pretense dropped, the man is free to go. 800 cigarettes lighter. In one of Gatwick Airport's X-ray suites, a woman who's flown in from Libya has been taken for a full body scan.
390, thank you. You said you don't have an address to stay at in England? But you don't know where you're sleeping tonight? Okay. Right, okay, this is consent for X-ray examination, okay. Thank you.
The woman confirms she's happy to do the X-ray voluntarily.
Okay, what I need you to do is breathe in now. When the belt starts to move, breathe out slowly, okay?
With a suspicious and inconsistent story, there's good reason to put her through the X-ray. But finding nothing out of the ordinary, the woman is no longer suspected of importing illegal drugs. She's escorted back into the terminal. Despite no evidence for drugs, her reasons for being in the UK are still doubtful, so officers in Immigration will investigate her story further.
Brought her back to Immigration because I believe she's here to work. But it's out of my hands now. It's down to my immigration colleagues to decide what they do with her. Well, listen, I'm going to leave it with the immigration officers, OK? From a customs point of view, we're happy that you don't have anything you shouldn't have, OK? If you just take a seat, the immigration officers will be with you soon, OK? Just sit down, all right?
The woman was later interviewed by UK border agency officers working in immigration. She was eventually allowed to enter the UK on her student visa. The cannabis smuggler pleaded guilty to attempting to smuggle 16 kilograms into the UK. He's now serving 18 months in prison. In our ports and in our airports, the UK Border Agency is fighting a constant battle against smugglers.
I'm arresting you. Oh, dear me.
Coming up, in Calais, no one can hold a candle to Sniffer Dog Wax's people-finding prowess.
We've got at least one clandestine on top.
In Gatwick, a man of faith hopes for a bit of charity.
He said he's a charity worker, but he has no actual charity ID. He said he had a lot of stuff on the computer which was related to the charity, but he now can't find it.
And paramedics are called to a flight from Jamaica after a passenger is taken ill.
She said she's been vomiting the whole flight and she told the crew she'd been given something to swallow to bring back to the UK.
The port of Dover on the southeast coast of England is just 21 miles from Calais in France, the gateway into Europe. Over 6,000 lorries cross the English Channel every day, and with 18 million passengers making the journey each year, it's the busiest stretch of water in the world. But not all of the passengers crossing the Channel are welcome. Round the clock, the UK Border Agency has a presence at the port of Calais in France.
Good boy. Up here, mate, up here. Good boy, in this one.
With the aid of sniffer dogs, officers operate in force to protect the UK borders from clandestines, immigrants who attempt to enter the UK illegally.
The dog is trained to search for human scent. So a primary role at the northern ports of France is to search for illegal immigrants who smuggle themselves in lorries and other vehicles in order to get to the UK. And the dog is body detection dog is one of the best technologies that we have.
In the past 12 months, officers searched more than 1 million freight vehicles and found over 29,000 immigrants attempting to come into the UK. Tonight, sniffer dog Fergus and Officer Matt are searching a lorry bound for Dover. Fergus is starting to show signs he can smell human presence.
Is this an indication, is it?
Kind of. It's more of a disturbance indication, which means either the driver or one of our staff has checked the vehicle and there's some form of human scent still around there. Wait. Which one go find?
This time, nobody is found.
Ready? It wasn't an overly strong indication, but it was worth a look.
Officer Alex has continued the search of freight vehicles using sniffer dog wax. And it doesn't take long before wax makes one of his trademark indications.
We're going to get the camera in here because he's indicating.
Wax's highly sensitive nose appears to have made a positive indication for human presence just above the lorry's wheel arches. At Gatwick Airport, a flight has just arrived from Portugal. Officers are monitoring passengers disembarking the flight and looking out for any signs of suspicious behaviour.
Thank you.
One lone male passenger is of particular interest, as it's been noticed from his luggage tags that he started his journey outside of the EU.
As far as I'm aware, he's a gentleman that's come up from Venezuela via Portugal. He's just been away for a week. I think he's got a sort of last-minute ticket, only booked the day before.
The man says he's a minister who also works and raises funds for an American charity with a base in Venezuela.
They've got projects and they need funding and things like that, you know. So I used to be a professional bike rider.
His short visit to South America causes concern, with Venezuela known as a country with links to the international drugs trade.
So when are you next going to be in contact with these people?
A couple of hours. I've already spoken to them on the phone.
Okay.
As Officer Tori continues to search the man's possessions, her colleague Gary comes across to swab test his suitcase for any traces of Class A drugs. And Gary's face says it all. The swab shows a positive reading for cocaine.
That's gone red, so there might be some form of traces of coke.
He relays the information to Tori.
Well, when I booked in, there was a
positive hits from coke.
There was a search at Crackers actually before.
Just wait there, I'm just going to x-ray this one. Gary says that he's got a slight hit of coke, so I'll synoptic, a rub down, right? Let's see if I can get one of them done.
The X-ray of the suitcase is clear. But with traces for cocaine, Tori wants to take her investigation to the next level.
I'm going to start putting things in there. I'm just going to go and speak to my boss. I'll be back in a second. He's got no work ID on him at all. He's got a bit of an earmarked Bible, but other than that.
So I'd find it weird if you're registered, like working for a registered charity, that you wouldn't have any sort of charitable ID if you've been on a
He says
charity
he's got
trip.
tons of stuff on his laptop.
The news is broken to the passenger.
When we were I was doing the baggage search earlier, one of my colleagues, you may have saw him rub a small piece of, that's what we call an iron track machine, and it's given us a small trace or a small hit of cocaine from the inside of your bag. So I've spoken to my boss and she's authorised like a security search. It's just like a rub down, like a pat down. Okay, so if you can follow me, please.
The man is led away to find out if he's hiding any packages. Back in Calais, Officer Alex and Sniffer Dog Wax have found something of interest within the wheel arches of a lorry bound for the UK. Wax indicates to Alex to investigate further.
Good boy. Good lad. Good boy. Yeah, we've got at least one clandestine on top of the pannier. So you've got a box that holds pallets, wooden pallets for loading. And there's a gap in between the top of the metal box that holds the pallets and the actual trailer itself. So they're just laying on top of the pannier. Good boy. And what I'll do now is I'll get the dog out of the way and the guys can take a look.
Alex is delighted with Wax's find. The driver of the lorry, less so.
Okay, driver, you stay there. Okay, yeah.
For every clandestine found in his lorry, the driver and his company face a fine of up to £2,000.
Come on, they come. Come on. 1, 2, 3. Count 4 pairs of shoes here. Okay.
Right, we've called for assistance from the office and we'll have someone come down to help us get them off the vehicle, and we'll keep them contained until the French police come down.
5 people are eventually found hiding underneath the lorry. It's a significant find, but for Wax, it's all a big game.
Dog's happy. He's got his tennis ball, which is what he does it for.
The clandestines are lined up as they wait for the French authorities to come and process them. For some of them, this was their 3rd attempt at getting into the UK.
The French police have taken them away to the station in the port here. They will process them and then they'll possibly interview them to ascertain whether they can be removed from France back to their country of origin.
It's been another successful night all round, due in no small part to Sniffer Dog Wax. In Gatwick, the British minister whose suitcase has given a positive swab reading for cocaine has been taken for a body rub-down.
When he's saying that the charity he works for have paid for his trip, but he didn't like it there really. It's very vague about what he's actually doing. It's just charity work. What?
No drugs are found on his body, so his shoes are taken away for further swab tests. And with another positive reading for cocaine, the plot thickens.
There's basically a few inconsistencies with what's happened here, and that is the fact that he's obviously said he's a charity worker, he's worked for a charity for a long time, but he has no actual charity ID. Also, he said he had a lot of stuff on the computer which was related to the charity, but he now can't find it. The man who bought his ticket, he had said, was arranged by the charity. We now discovered that the man who bought the ticket is his friend who's meeting him outside. It's nothing to do with the charity at all.
With all of this in mind, officers decide to put the passenger through an X-ray. The positive drug hit from his shoes may suggest he's smuggling packages inside his body. However, his calm demeanour and full cooperation belies that of a drug smuggler. Passengers who've swallowed drugs will be arrested and detained for their own safety until all the packages safely come out.
If you just follow the officer again, you can take your bits there.
This time, however, it looks like the man has not swallowed any drugs.
I think this is all a bit too dense.
This is hip though, isn't it? That's your new hip replacement.
Oh, that is, yeah. But I mean, all this.
With the last roll of the dice, Officer Kerry sends a team outside the airport to try and locate the person waiting to collect the passenger.
Yeah, we've sent 2 officers out to look for the guy that is supposed to be meeting Mr. Kerry, but as yet no one has showed themselves. They've not turned up to a call for his name or even the call for the meter's name. So we've just been given it a couple of minutes. If we hear nothing from it, I think at this stage, because of what we have, or rather what we don't have, we're probably going to have to let him go and just always be wandering, perhaps.
Just down the end there. Thanks for your time.
No one is found outside the airport. After a thorough search, the man is free to go. The hits for drugs are put down to contamination. Coming up, paramedics are called to attend a suspected drug swallower.
She says she's been vomiting the whole flight. She told the crew she'd been given something to swallow to bring back to the UK.
Coming up, an X-ray on a female passenger lends support to officers' suspicions.
There's a possibility that she might have a package inside her bra.
At Gatwick Airport, passengers have just arrived from Kingston in Jamaica. The UK Border Agency has just been alerted to a medical emergency on board the flight, and Officer Chris is sent to investigate.
We're just rushing up to gate 59 now. We've received a call from the inbound Kingston flight that the lady on the flight has been vomiting and has collapsed. I've already spoken to the crew. She's travelling with 3 children, and she says she's been vomiting the whole flight. So they said they were going to call the paramedics, and she told the crew she was very worried because she'd been given something to swallow to bring back to the UK.
With a suspected drug swallower on their hands, paramedics are dispatched to the aircraft along with border agency officers who process the woman's arrival.
Depending on the woman's condition, she may go straight to hospital. If that's the case, officers will go with her in the ambulance. If not, she'll be processed here locally by Gatwick staff.
We're taking the kids, escorting the kids.
Yep.
I'm not sure where their passports are, but apparently
We'll look after the passports, yeah. We'll go with you.
As the sick woman is attended to by paramedics, provisions are made for her children.
Children have just been taken through the controls, through passport controls and customs controls, and they'll be reunited or united with their grandmother. The lady, the mother, she'll surely be taken to East Surrey Hospital, along with 2 detection officers as well, and they'll stay with her for the time being.
The woman's health continues to deteriorate, so paramedics must rush her to hospital to assess whether or not she has packages inside her. If she has swallowed drugs, one burst package would take just minutes to cause almost certain death.
The lady's just been loaded into the ambulance. She'll be taken to local hospital. One of our female officers will go with her, and other officers will join her as well at the hospital. When she gets there, she'll be examined by the doctors to see what, if anything, she's got inside her. She's saying that she's a couple of months pregnant, which is, it's not an unfamiliar thing. We see pregnant women on occasion do swallow packages of drugs or have drugs inside them as well. And they think if they say they're pregnant, it will stop us looking further. She's been vomiting for several hours now, and it's not an uncommon reaction with people who have swallowed packages. It's just their stomach is having an adverse reaction to anything up to 1 kilo of foreign packages inside their body.
The woman is escorted to hospital by border agency officers who will monitor whether she passes any packages. Across at Gatwick's North Terminal, officers are busy processing passengers entering the country. A flight has just arrived from Trinidad and Tobago, and passengers disembarking the flight are being assessed by drugs detection dog Lottie and Officer Claire. Documents are checked at Immigration, and passengers are questioned about the purpose of their visit to the UK. one passenger's story in particular has caused concern. A lone female has given a number of suspicious reasons for entering the UK.
Right, okay, we're going to go in here now, okay, have a look at your luggage, okay. First of all, I have to ask you if you've got anything to declare to customs.
No.
Any alcohol, tobacco,
No.
cigarettes?
Nothing like
and
that.
Do you understand it's illegal to bring some things here?
Yeah.
Like controlled drugs, offensive weapons? You understand that?
Yes.
Got nothing like that?
Nothing like that.
Okay.
The woman told immigration she's planning to visit her fiancé before travelling to France. But alarm bells started ringing when it emerged she had just $60 to fund her entire trip.
And is this all of your luggage?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
fine.
Did you pack it all yourself?
My mom.
Your mum?
Yeah, helped me.
Were you there when she packed it?
I was in the bedroom. I was in bedroom getting ready.
Do you fully understand what's in the suitcases?
Yes, I
Yeah?
have my.
Okay. Has anybody in Trinidad given you anything to bring here for them?
No.
And your friend is meeting you here?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. When did you meet him?
I met him last
Okay.
year. He asked me if I would like to come visit. So.
The woman seems surprised to have been stopped. And although she's cooperating fully, officers will conduct a thorough check of all of her bags to ensure she's carrying nothing illegal.
When did you get the ticket?
I got the ticket sometime last week.
Yeah. Why did you only get the ticket last week?
Oh, because he sent me a cash from me.
Oh, he's paid for the trip for you?
Yes.
All right, okay.
A swab test is conducted on the woman's belongings as the search continues through her cases. And a trace reading for cocaine deepens the intrigue. With nothing else found hidden in the woman's luggage, Officer Kevin wants to conduct an X-ray to see if she's carrying drugs inside her body.
What we've got is a body scanner. Okay?
Yeah, sure.
You don't mind going through that?
I don't mind at all.
No? If we do that, and hopefully you'll be able to get on your holiday.
Kevin approaches his superior to get approval for the body scan.
I'm just going to body scan her. Right. She's, I've run it past her and she's quite happy to do it. Okay. Just to make sure.
Yeah, so she's going to do it as a voluntary.
Yeah.
In just a few moments, officers will find out if they were right to be suspicious. Back at Gatwick's South Terminal, an investigation is underway into a woman who became seriously ill on a flight from Kingston. After claiming to have swallowed something to bring into the UK, the woman was immediately taken to hospital. In the terminal, team leader Chris goes through the contents of the woman's suitcase.
So we had a message from the Gatwick airport. The airport operator's got like a control room that's manned 24 hours. The message we got was that she'd admitted to swallowing packages. She's now saying that she's not swallowed packages. So it may just be Chinese whispers, but also it needs to be investigated.
With nothing suspicious found in her suitcase, an ion track swab test is conducted for any traces of drugs.
And that's come up as a positive hit for cocaine. It's not saying she has come into contact with cocaine, it's just an indication that she may have.
The woman's circumstances are now even more alarming. Chris conducts an X-ray of her suitcase for any hidden concealments.
There's nothing in the bags from a customs point of view, other than the ion track indications, which does give us something else to think about. The next step now is to concentrate on the lady.
Officers head down to the local hospital to check on the progress of their suspected drug swallower.
When someone complains of stomach pains or anything like this, you know, as we said before, the medical assistance is the first priority, and if a medic dictates they go to the hospital, then they go to the hospital. From our point of view, we still have a responsibility, A, towards the passenger to make sure there's no harm going to come to them, but B, we've got to safeguard any sort of illicit material they may be carrying.
3 UK border agency officers have been monitoring the woman's health at the hospital. When Chris arrives for an update, they're positive she hasn't swallowed any drugs. But nurses have made a shocking discovery.
Having spoken briefly to the nursing staff, it sounds like she may have been forced by her boyfriend to drink a liquid to try and induce a miscarriage because she's slightly pregnant. Again, it's only a vague story we've got, but nevertheless, because she's in our care, she's been detained by us, we'll need to explore that with her.
The woman was later discharged from hospital and was of no further interest to the border agency. In the airport's North Terminal, the female passenger from Trinidad is about to be body scanned to see if she has any drugs hidden inside her.
Okay, what you need to do is you need to stand on here like this, okay, with your hands by your side, all right? And then when the officer says, take a deep breath and hold it, and then this will move, and it will go through and then stop. Do you understand? Okay. Yeah, just go on there like that, yeah.
All right, go very slowly, you won't bang into the wall. Are you ready to go now? Yeah. That's great. Here we go. I can't see any regular shapes, Kevin, to be honest, in the areas we're looking at.
No, I don't think so.
We're happy that she doesn't have anything inside her, which is the main reason for using the body scan. There's a possibility that she might have a package inside her bra, which has been known in the past. The definitive thing is to actually do a search, which wasn't done before this body scan. So we'll do that, and then we'll find out exactly if there is anything there or if there isn't.
The woman is led back to a private interview room where the search will take place.
Just take a seat over there. Okay, yeah. Okay, so what's going to happen is, okay, because we can't tell what it is, the female officer's going to search you, all right? Okay.
But it doesn't take long to find the cause of the abnormality on the scan.
You need to get a new bra, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It needs to be bigger. That's what the picture was. See?
Yeah, okay.
That's what the picture shows, you see.
Thank you very much again, once again.
The cause of the alarm is put down to the woman's bra.
All right, now I'm sorry you had to go through that, all right?
Having completed both customs and immigration checks, she's free to continue her travels. In the following few weeks, Alex and the team at Calais continued their good run of form by discovering a further 34 clandestines bound for the UK.